wholesome, if you know what I mean.
Is it mostly people in Canada, or do you get United States?
We're all over the place. All over the place. Stu Gerson is here. I don't know if you know Stu Gerson, but Stu Gerson is here. Let's see here. Mala, good to have you here. Bob, no, they're all over the world. Believe it or not, we also get a good mixture of residents waking up early in the United Kingdom. I don't know why they get up early for this Canadian. Maybe it has something to do with the Commonwealth. I don't know. But maybe, just maybe.
My friend there says they're under lockdown, so they got nothing else to do.
No, exactly. We have a first-timer here, Pratom77. Welcome to our chat room, man. Thank you for coming on in. Hello, Corrence, the booking guy. We have 25 seconds before we are going to launch the show here. So a big way to support this show, we are going to have our store open up. I'm hoping this week. I got Wednesday and Thursday off. But a good way is to hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you're new. The super chat is open. Hi, gorgeous April. Good to have you here. And we're off and running here in 5 seconds, people. Let's have a great show tonight because this is going to be a lot of fun. Here we go with the intro. From the snowy mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair in SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Dr. Horace Drew, he grew up in Florida in the 60s and 70s, and then in the early 80s, he went over to California to get his Ph.D. in chemistry at Caltech, where he did several of the first high-resolution X-ray structures of DNA. He then spent 5 years doing post-doctoral research on DNA and chromosomes at the MRC Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge. He moved to Australia in 1987 and has lived there ever since. He showed me a view today from his place. It actually looks warm and sunny there rather than the blizzard that I am in right now. And then later in the 90s, he began to do DNA forensic research as a private hobby because, who doesn't pick up DNA forensic research as a hobby? With UFO investigator Bill Chalkler. And Horace then became interested in crop circles in 2002 when the Crooked Soley curved DNA formation showed what he and other colleagues were meeting to discuss just a number of kilometers away. Hey, we're into everything tonight. Now we're talking time travel. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. and Dr. Horace Drew, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Hi, Dave, and hello to everybody there.
Oh, we got a packed house here in our chat rooms and on Twitter. We appreciate you taking the time, my friend. For a guy like you who has run the gamut of the educational side of science, how did that lead to UFOs, crop circles, time travel, and everything else weird, my friend?
Well, you just got to turn it around the other way. You know what I mean by that?
No, fill me in.
Well, I saw the UFO first, and that's what led me into science. You got it backward.
Okay, explain that to us.
Well, what happened was I grew up in Florida near I guess about 2 or 3 hours north of where they're launching all the moon rockets, Cape Kennedy then. And a lot of us there were seeing UFOs, like half the kids around me in Jacksonville. And I think I was 9 years old with a friend, and the first time we had our telescopes, kids play with telescopes in Mandarin. And I went to his house, we get the telescope out, and we see these stars tracing geometric figures in the sky. That's the first thing. Oh, that's really weird. I didn't know if it was a UFO, but it was definitely weird. Like, understand what I mean? Like lines, right angles. And then a few months, I don't know exactly how long after that, when I think I was 10 years old. I don't remember, 1965, I think it was, late August. It was a bright sunny day like it is here. I hate to break, we have hibiscus around my swimming pool right now. It's all bright and sunny. I'm cleaning the pool. It was bright and sunny that day in Florida, and my neighbor, Mr. Jones, was out in the front yard picking weeds with his little Jack Russell dog. So he was my godfather. I just wanted to give you the details so I'm not making anything up. And I went over to say hello to my godfather and just chat, as you'll do. I was like 10 years old. So he's over there on his knees picking weeds. I chat for a few minutes, and then the dog, Jack Russell Terrier, just starts barking hysterically. Row, 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 row. And I don't know what to think. I didn't think of UFOs or anything. But then I thought the dog has noticed something. Bright sunny day. So I just turned around to see what the dog was barking at, which anybody would do. And he was barking at something up in the sky, not high up, but about the top of a big oak tree about 100 meters away. There was this saucer just floating there. I don't know how long it had been there. About the width of a suburban street, about 20, 30 meters, I can't say exactly, 5 or 10 meters. It looks just like a dome saucer like you see in all the Billy Meyer photos or the I Want to Believe photos, except I was like aluminum or silver, dull silver. It was just floating there. Obviously, I figured out right away it was making a high-pitched noise, and that's what the dog heard it and we couldn't. So I saw that, and it's just amazing to see something about the weight of a car floating in the air silently. What do you think about that, Dave?
Doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of weird things up in the sky. And as a kid, how old were you when this was happening?
I think 10 or 11 when I got that really close sighting. I can't remember. But I was in elementary school, year 6 or something. So I wasn't a kid. I mean, I was mature. I was old enough to know what was happening,
Okay.
And then, and it wasn't far away. It was like I could have read any writing on it. I could have read it. I could see the edges, just a dome and 2 silver things all around it everywhere. I couldn't see anything else. I mean, it would have been close enough I would have seen anything else. No more than 100 meters. I can't say exactly. So this huge thing, imagine seeing an automobile, a truck, floating in the air near you without making any sound in daylight, and you're not scared. You're just thinking, what is going on here? What kind of physics is that? So I watched it do that and hover, and then the next thing that was even more amazing, I ran about halfway to it. I must have been like 50 meters away, no further. And then suddenly, without any warning, it was at treetop level, and it zipped off south over the trees, which are about 20, 30 meters high, like a cruise missile, up and down over them. And I just watched it get smaller and smaller by perspective till it was a dot, and then it just disappeared. It never went away. It just got smaller and smaller. And visibility was about 1 mile. And never made a sound during the whole thing. Think like a cruise missile flying. But it's instantaneous, no inertia, no anything. So I called up, I didn't realize it was a UFO to begin with, like an alien. I thought maybe it's a Russian thing, because we had the Cuban Missile Crisis just 2 years before. The supermarkets were empty. We thought we were going to get nuked, everybody. I don't know if you remember that. So I called up, I thought I'd better report it. So I called the Naval Air Station within a few minutes and said, there's this thing flying here, it might be Russia, I don't know what it is, but I reported it where it was and flying south, because it could be, 10 years old, it could be a Russian secret weapon, right?
At 10 years old, absolutely it is.
Didn't know. Well, I knew what it was, I better report it. And then it wasn't until later I learned about UFOs that I learned that Russians don't have anything like that. It was actually an authentic alien UFO, and it was exactly the same as Billy Meyer photographed 8 years later over pine logs in Switzerland. It's exactly the same UFO. That picture of a UFO over pine logs? Exactly within 99% the same UFO. But I saw it 9 years before he photographed it. So I don't really think the photo is a fake. I think he couldn't have faked that, So that's where it started off. I got so amazed by that. All my friends were doing real estate and various commercial things, and I said, well, look, I've got to upgrade myself and do science. So when I meet these people later, I can sort of not feel like a caveman. I can be a lesser colleague rather than a caveman. So I studied gravity first, and I studied DNA first, and by 1980, I was world-class leader in DNA. That was like 13 years later. And then for the first images of DNA, world-class. It's called CGCGAATTCGCG, the Dickerson-Drew dodecamer. The first X-ray structure of DNA I saw, and you see every atom. The first, before that DNA, it was expected, but no one ever seen it. And then now I've been working on molecular biology for like 23 years. We did colon cancer tests, we do things like that. Now that I'm out of official science, where you have to work on conventional problems, I'm spending all my time doing things like UFOs when they come about, like UFO coded messages. That's a good one, because I got coded messages, like pages and pages of authentic UFO messages. Time travel when it comes about, crop circles, anything that's really interesting to science, and science should be studying and they're not. That's what I do. But I'm a trained Caltech scientist, like the Big Bang Theory, and I apply all the scientific principles to it. Now, I know I'm not going through peer-reviewed journals, and the reason is the peer-reviewed journals is like, can you have a religion outside of the Bible? Of course you can have a religion outside of the Bible. That doesn't mean you can't follow, maybe your path to religion is not following the Bible literally, and that's like it is with the journals. My path to truth in science is not following the peer-reviewed literature literally. That doesn't mean it's not true, but they're very limited in what's in there. They just limit everything. Their minds are closed, not all of them, of course. So I've been doing that for some time now, so it's not woo, it's actually our scientists are failing through what's called cognitive narrowing to address all these very important problems. And that's what I've been doing that now for like 25 years.
In regards to, the way science and mainstream science has really looked at this subject, I've talked to a lot of scientists in regards to this field where they're disappointed their colleagues don't want to get more involved, whether it's fear of losing grants, losing positions at work or with universities or whatever it may be. Did you find that too with your colleagues?
Yeah, that's why, not so much overtly, however, the colleagues are just, they feel like, I'm going to get in trouble if I do this. They don't know how they're going to get in trouble, but they feel like, I'll lose my whole career if I go down that path, okay? And I don't think they know exactly, but actually I've come across a dozen times in the past 10 or 20 years that there are these very evil people who will threaten you and do everything they can to kill you and discredit you, whether they're intel or enemy alien, whatever. There are these very dark people who are trying to suppress the subject at all cost. And there is something to be afraid of. And when you encounter them, and even I have a friend, there's a news lady, very nice news lady for Newscom. She came to one of my seminars. I won't mention her name. Respectable journalist. And I came over there and she gave my crop circle seminar. And I said, she's a bit nervous. I didn't want her to be nervous. I said, well, look, I'm going to report something. If you like it, say positive. If you don't, just do it like ordinary reporting. As long as you're honest, I don't care if you're pro or against. And you just report what you see and what you judge. I'm not going to influence you. I shouldn't, should I? So she wrote a moderately balanced article, went around the world, one of several, and they came down like a ton of bricks on her a couple days later. I mean, it was just like total, like they can do away with you, just total like you've lost your job forever. And I had another girl, and I said, I got to be careful. I can't endanger these reporters anymore. This was a nice woman. Another girl came to my seminar, and she was just a student in film class at a local university here, and she thought that'd be a good project for her film project to do documentary on, like on a, what do you call it, UFOs, a outside peer group. And at that time, Mariana Flynn, who passed away, was a very reputable woman running our group, very credible. Mariana Flynn, she died of cancer quite tragically. So this film crew, film students, came, and I said, well, check your professor and make sure it's okay, because it's a controversial subject. So they came over and interviewed me, hours of tape. And Mariana, who's a completely credible woman, most credible person you know, and they came over and over again, and I said, what are you going to do with it? She said, we'll probably assemble a 1-hour YouTube video as a documentary, like people do, like the Melbourne UFO sightings, or people put UFO things on and get a little 1-hour movie out of it. So that's fine. I don't expect it to be on TV. You can just make a 1-hour YouTube thing out of it. Little did I know what was going to happen next. They confiscated all the film. Agents moved in and just confiscated and shut down the whole thing. So it just disappeared. She couldn't even post that on YouTube, So, and another friend was going to meet some person. They told him just to tell about his close UFO sighting. The UFO, he could touch it. And they threatened the other person. They said they'll kill you if you meet the guy. And I've had this in crop circles too. So there is a very dark, dangerous element. I'm not know who they are. Certainly the intelligence agencies are involved. I just take my word for it. I mean, I know this. Why do you think I'm not on Facebook? Because I was hacked off Facebook, not by Mark Zuckerberg. I was hacked off by the Intel guys in 2018, threatened every threat in the world. Twitter's left me alone so far. But the Facebook crew, there was a whole bunch of stuff. So that is the reality of it. If you haven't encountered yet, I can see how you might not encounter it and think, oh, it's just flaky. But there's a very dedicated crew of very dark people who are doing everything they can to keep you ignorant of these subjects. And they're dangerous. Not only are they just cover up or discredit you like bad stories, but they're dangerous.
Okay. What's the purpose of that, though? Because the way this topic is taken off in the media, mainly with UFOs the last 3 years, why would there be any danger to anybody who's a ufologist or a scientist looking into this?
I don't know why they're doing it exactly, but there's some sort of battle going on for the cognitive future of Earth between these bad persons and the good persons. And you see that all the time, good versus evil, whatever. Maybe we're a third world country. I can't say exactly why. These people don't admit who they work for. I have seen one example where some crop circle researcher went to a crop circle. You're going to get freaked out by this. Do you mind if I freak out your audience?
As long as you don't swear, that's all I care about.
Okay. But very keen crop circle researcher, a bit naive, went to a crop circle in 2009, a leading thing, had hundreds of thousands of people, goes to one in 2010s there for the night. People do night watches, they just wonder if anything will show up. It's very rare, but people are hoping to meet the aliens, right? And something happened to him, sort of like a traveler's, taking over of consciousness. And it was some evil thing took the guy. And that's very possible. So some evil thing got into the guy's head, and I got the private notes. He was driven completely crazy by something. And that's not the people making the crop circle, but some enemy race. So there's some sort of struggle here, definitely, between the good and the bad forces for the control of Earth. I wouldn't say any more than that, but I'd say as soon as you encounter it, you'll say, yes, if you have somebody, you're doing your business and somebody threatens to kill you the next day, there's something at stake there, right? So this is very, very real. And what I do now, if that happens, I just try to protect the people it happens to, because I can't be responsible for anything bad that happening to someone else. And if your readers haven't heard of me, my crop circle video had 370,000 views in 2016 with Mariana, and it was going to 1 million, and Google just took it off. Now, if crop circles were, I can give you the link. It's on the black web now. There's no swearing. If crop circles aren't real, why did they censor it? The reason is, anybody who watches it will realize crop circles are real. It's completely convincing, and they just don't want that to happen under any circumstances. I'll give you the link if you don't believe me, you can watch it. And a lot of my videos are totally black censored just because I'm talking about crop circles, in a way that scientists would believe, because I'm a scientist. They can say I'm not a New Age flake. So that's the sociological situation I guarantee. I'm just telling you the truth, okay? I couldn't say who the enemies are, but there's definitely a dark enemy who's not friendly to humans. And we see this. If you study crop circles for a while, the crop circle people are warning us about other aliens or enemies just constantly. So they're evidently involved in some struggle between themselves and another enemy factions. And that must be, but I don't know, beyond that, I don't really know it. Here in Australia, I'm quite safe. It's got to the point where I can't return to England safely for crop circles. They would set me up with drugs or car accident, I can't really go there. I went there 8 times. They're afraid I'll infect the English people with truth. If I get the English people, there's a big trouble if the English people realize that crop circles are real, because they've covered it up, and they're afraid I would just infect them. So they have all the crazies talk, and they put the crazier the person is, the more news play they give them. And if you're a real person, I'm not the only one, then they can really be, like Julian Assange. So there's this battle going on, and I guarantee you the battle is real, okay? For everybody. It's not a joke whatsoever. So you can comment.
Right.
I'm just telling you.
These so-called crop circle hitmen or women out there, all right, are they human, are they government-oriented, or are they from a different path of intelligence?
Probably both. Probably UK, US Intel. If you study crop circles, Do you know the Doug and Dave story? They debunked it was a fake right from the beginning. I have a voice tape of one of the CIA agents who inadvertently spilled the beans about it was a multinational organization, the UK, Germany, USA, the Vatican, to debunk it and make people, they'll keep appearing, but people won't pay attention. A legitimate voice tape, and he just talked too much. They can't have a CIA agent talk like that. And that's how they got debunked, because they're afraid, they just did not want this phenomenon. They were afraid it would change world consciousness. We'd have this new world consciousness, and they wouldn't want to be slaves anymore. You know, if we knew about the new text for free energy, we know about this and that, we want to get those new texts, move all of Earth to a new consciousness, and they want to stop that at all costs. They definitely want us to be serfs, and we're the serfs and they're the masters. So there's this huge master-serf mentality. And I can guarantee you that's behind all the intel agents, all the Western intel agencies knew this was involved, and I have proof of it. You know, so that was 1991, and that's when they put all the fake stories out. So that's what happened right then. And now it's gone for another 29 years, and fake stories occasionally, you know, all of Google's fake. So if you look at Crop Circle on Google, practically 90% of them are fake news, which now you know what fake news is with politics. 90% of them are fake. You show me one, I can just explain to you it's fake news in a few minutes. So why would you do that if there was nothing to hide? You hide things if they're... Roger Lear, the implant surgeon, he said to me, you don't make fake news about ghosts. There's nothing to hide, you know? So they're trying to cover it up so much constantly, and they brainwash so many people. And that's the situation still right now. People are coming out of it a bit. But right now on Twitter, I haven't had any trouble, you know. Facebook is completely gone. So that's the situation. Anyway, the sociological phenomenon, okay?
We got 2.5 minutes before we got to go to break. Why come after you?
It's not just me. It's all the reputable Crop Circle people are treated the same way. In England, there are 100. Look, England's not even I'm not even English. Most of them are in England. Look at all the English researchers. There are like dozens of very reputable. Michael Glickman, people controversial. If you look on there, you'll see these things. I don't want to say names in Dutch. They're all censored, all the reputable. And you go to a meeting and you see like a few hundred business people there. You're not talking about flaky New Age people. So that the sociological impression you get of woo-woo has nothing to do with the reality, okay? And if you get serious enough, they come after you if you start to influence enough people. And that's all it is. Exactly, I'm telling you that, you know, if this thing influences enough people, they're going to take your video down. I'm telling you, okay? Your radio down if it hits enough people. And you won't be able to do anything about it. So, okay, I'm just telling you. But let's go ahead. So far, everything's cool.
All right, as we continue on, Dr. Horace Drew is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got about 90 seconds before we have to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. In regards to crop circles, are they alien-made?
They're not made by humans from our space and time. There's a controversy what you mean by alien, whether you mean extraterrestrial, someone from another dimension, time traveler. And it could be all of the above, okay? And it's probably not just one group making them, but it's really easy to go in and see I've seen 20 or 30 experts. So the 90% of the ones you see are not made by local humans with their open boards. There's always a couple each year, but 90% of them, okay? And that's 40 and 38. There's just one in Brazil last week. And I can't show the video. I can give you the web reference to Google. Look, while you're on the break, everybody should Google Crop Circle Connector 2020. Crop Circle Connector 2020. It's my friend's website, Crop Circle Connector 2020. And it'll lead you to all the crop circles this summer, okay? You can see 40 of them.
Well, we'll check that out. We'll definitely check that out. Dr.
Yeah.
Horace Drew, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour, and we are going to start shifting from crop circles, and then near the top of the hour, we'll get into some time travel, which is what I'm real interested in because, I mean, this is a topic we just don't hit enough here on this show. Dr. Horace Drew is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're all over the map tonight on a lot of great topics, so thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate that. Hey, my buddy Ben down in Hollywood, how are you, my friend? Good to have you here. Thank you so much. We will be back right after the break here on the Mighty SOR. All right, my friend, we're clear here. We are still live, hot to mic on YouTube. So you can say hello to everybody there.
Oh, okay. You're on the break officially.
Yes, we're on the radio break right now.
Choose what subject you want to talk about. You just asked me. I'm just following up on your sociological question first.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're trying to explain why scientists would do it. The reason is it's hard science. It's not woo. And I was trying to explain these people trying to cover it up so scientists can't. That's all it is. They're covering it up very fiercely, you know. And that's what it is. I'm a scientist. I'm still a scientist. A Caltech scientist.
Oh, yeah. We'll get there, man. We'll get there. That was a good first warm-up. And now that we've gotten through all the greetings and salutations, now we'll get into the good stuff coming up here.
Should we start with the historical time travel Rendlesham Forest or something like that, which is completely irrefutable?
Well, let's go into crop circles for a few minutes.
Okay,
cool. So that way we just don't forget about them right off the bat. But we'll get into them for a few minutes, and then hour 2. I really want to focus on the time travel aspect.
Okay, I've got a whole bunch of notes here to focus.
Perfect. Excuse me.
Crop circles there's so many, you don't realize how many people have studied. Of course, they're in England. Of course, there'll be hundreds of English people studying them, not just Australian or Americans. So those people get no airplay. Winston has videos of orbs flying them, you know, and they got one, the famous one on July 7, 2007. A big Om symbol, the holy name of God, appeared in Eastfield, and they got it on 4 cameras. Nobody was there. You know, very famous Winston Keach. And it's on YouTube. And then the military helicopters sailed off the field at 7 in the morning, and they saw alien orbs floating around. The military helicopters chasing them. So this was like 13 years ago, and this happens. There've been a number of incidents which are totally documented that there's some sort of alien stuff going on, you know, and. Not all the time, but once every few years you get some big alien thing going on, and the world, you can't. There's no world publicity for it.
Oh, for sure.
And hundreds of very reputable English people. That's why I mentioned crop circle. So the guy who does the work all the time will be credited. You know, he's working 24 years on the subject, so I'll make sure he gets a lot of credit. I was just talking to him this morning. He spent his whole life studying crop circles. It's just been dragged on. The reason is they've been doing it for 26 years, and it's dragging on, and people are losing interest for that reason. Because the aliens haven't landed yet, so this is why they're just a bit tired. 26 years of unpaid work. But it's still very exciting, you know.
Exactly. It's I'm looking forward to this. I try not to talk too much about the show during the break because I want to make sure I save all my questions for the audience here. You know, especially I got to think about the radio side too. But no, it's good stuff, man. It's very good stuff.
Yeah, I've been to England. I know everybody in the whole field 8 times and all that. I know all the people. Mixture of people like in any field, like UFOs or anything like that. So they're of course very many reputable people. So it just isn't. The scientists, there are crop circles at the time of Newton is in the book. Isaac Newton, there were crop circles, and a professor from Oxford wrote a book about them. And that was 1680 or something. So the whole thing about the open bore is just total bullshit. That's why you don't realize when you study it.
Very true. Very true. We got 90 seconds.
I'm not sure. You just guide it the way you want to go.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I'm pretty good at that. I've done that once or twice. I am jealous that you have a nice day going on there, because I've got like 4 inches of snow right now.
Yeah, I've got passion fruit flowers, I've got hibiscus by the pool. I was just fixing to clean the pool so it stays clean. I can jump in anytime I want. I've got Australia's got great weather.
Yeah.
Very sunny.
No.
My wife's in the next room, cooking dinner.
Nice. What's for dinner tonight?
Don't know. I mean, she's sort of like this. Otto Lengi is her favorite chef, the English.
Oh, yeah?
Have you heard of him? Otto Lengi?
No.
English chef. They're heavily into like fancy cooking. A lot of Australians, Master Chef and all that. And
oh yeah.
So cooking competitions.
All right, my friend, hold on, sit tight. We got 20 seconds. Big thank you to Zoe Buttercup. She has the cutest smile for the super chat tonight. Really do appreciate that. Don't forget, if you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up or down or sideways, whatever you feel is necessary. Support us at the SOR Vault, where you can get your SOR swag. Here comes the second half hour of the show. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. A nice 4 inches of snow outside. I am not ready for this, but I got all my firewood yesterday, so I'm pretty pumped up about that for the winter. Yeah, get cold now, BC. Get cold now. Hey, I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we continue on with our crop circle talk. Dr. Horace Drew is our guest tonight. Dr. Horace, welcome back.
Hi.
Hi. Good to have you here.
What would you like to talk about next?
Well, let's get into crop circles, because right before the break I had asked you if they were alien, and you're like, well, are they extraterrestrial? Are they ultra-terrestrial? Are they made by something that is not human? And I want you to expand on that a little bit, because, there's a lot of people out there who have been caught faking these, but you believe there's also the realm of possibility through history and everything else that shows that something a little bit more advanced may be creating these.
Well, not many people have been caught faking them. Actually, it's about 5% are faking in a year, and they put cameras out, and people have a weakness where they see one thing, and they try to extrapolate the other 30. So they show one fake, and they say, the other 29 must be fake too, or the other 39. And that's not the case, because the others happen when no one sees anything. And there's on film. They capture on film this thing just forming. There's no one, any huge things around. Witnesses, films. It's very common for huge complex crop pictures to appear, and there's no one around. We had the mothership glass one in 2016. We had the Ohm symbol in 2007, the Quetzalcoatl headdress in 2009. There are multiple witnesses sitting there watching the field with cameras. There's a California film crew, and this thing appears before them. There's nobody there. And these would have taken days and days for people with boards to do. So that's just a misconception presented by the media. There's you're just getting lied to by the media. I'm sorry, that's all it is. You don't see every one made every time during the year, but the number of fakes must be down around the 10 or 20% for any typical year. And you can walk into one, anyone experienced can walk in and see the difference. If it's fresh, like if it just came, it's very obvious. It looks like a laser's cut the lines, there's no rope and board. It looks like a laser has just gone through and done something. So it's very, very sharp. The precision is like 1 centimeter, whereas a board it might be 6 inches or a foot. So the angular resolution and space of the thing is just incredible. And that's what you see almost immediately when you see one in person.
For a lot of people who've never seen them up close and personal, like I have not, most of our audience has not, what's it like to stand in the middle of one of these things?
If it's a fresh one, it's very exciting. Like if you get there the first morning and there haven't been many people there before you, of course, as soon as it's found, hundreds of people will try to get there as soon as they can. It's like saying gold. And there are all these people who just go there, and when you get there, there are not too many people there before, like less than 10 or something. It's just spectacular. You like on the top of a hill, and you see the grass isn't flattened; it's just curved or delicately shaped, maybe a few feet off the ground. And then if 100 people come and tromp through it like elephants, of course it's crushed. But normally the grass isn't crushed by anything. I don't feel any energy. People say they feel energy. And you go basically in the middle of it, you can't really tell what's happening. You just go and take hundreds of photos because you don't know what's important. You go around, see everything, and just take a photo. People take photos from above, and you can't really tell from standing in the thing what's being communicated. It's impossible because the thing might be a football field long, and you're just walking around. So not till you have aerial drone photos or whatever, you can actually tell what the pattern means. It may look completely random or nonsense. And there's no evidence of human entry in the vast majority of them. There's no possible chance for most of them. So that's quite well known. I don't feel the energy, but you feel a sense of excitement that you've just gotten possibly an extraterrestrial message, and you want to like figure it out. This is a real, you know you're in one, you know it's a real ET thing, and you want to take photos, you want to look at the photos and study it and see what they're trying to say. I think the vast majority of people feel that way.
All right, so if you personally have never felt the energy, when people say that they have felt the energy in these, what exactly are they talking about?
I don't think, a lot of people are psychic and they say this and that. I don't think it's really very well confirmed by any sort of instrument. You have people say at a political rally they feel an energy. Now, maybe there's an energy there, maybe or not, but it's very subjective whether you feel an energy. There's no doubt you can go to some sort of microwave type energies have made the thing, not rope and boards. And they can tune that energy. For example, I'll give you just a humorous thing that you can't possibly forget, okay?
All right.
It's sort of in the eye, maybe not quite suitable for adults. I left Glastonbury in 2008. I went over there, the Crop Circle Festival, and everybody leaves. What happens is after Glastonbury Crop Circle Festival, it's a all-women rich lesbian festival, the Goddess Festival comes in. And men aren't really welcome in Glastonbury that week. You can be there, mostly it's rich women meeting partners. So I left, most men leave, and we go study crop pictures, which is about 2 hours away, okay, in Wiltshire. And the crop artists watching this festival, in their infinite humor, drew a picture of the goddess Isis to simulate that a goddess crop picture thing was going on 100 miles away. So I went there with our American fellow Jason, a couple other people, and Janet, and I didn't know what it was till I saw the image of the goddess Isis from the air. And one part of the thing, there was one part of it which was a tuft. I didn't know what it was, but I saw it would all been burned because it had gotten so hot. And that one little part, the whole thing had been burned, energy, just like someone burned it with a microwave oven. And I didn't know what it was. I took photos. So I go back, and it's a picture of the female anatomy. What part do you think they showed was hot?
One of those parts that I'm going to edit right now.
So that's but I'm telling you, it's just true. I went there, and everybody, it was a joke. It was an ET joke that they were watching humans, and that's all I can say. I won't say anything else. Do you have to edit that out?
Well, I won't edit that out because I don't have to, but I just had to make sure that we didn't say anything because that cost me extra work to push it towards the radio stations.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you the character of the intelligences who are making it. Can be very playful and, uninhibited and not politically correct. There was a part of it was a crop of the part had been burned to indicate heat. And they turned the energy up just for that. Everybody knew about that. So that just shows you the variety. Obviously, there was no rope and board. It was a standing tuft. The whole thing was burned. I didn't know what it was till I left. And then people were making a joke of it afterward. So that means, A, we learned from just that one example. First, they're observing events on Earth, as a sociologist might study humans. Secondly, they're commenting on it in a sort of a way, and probably humans wouldn't do that. Probably aliens would be looking at these people pairing up and just studying it like sociologists. And that's the sort of thing they might find humorous, So you asked me, and I've answered. That's a simple, unforgettable answer, okay?
Not a problem. Not a problem. As we got Dr. Horace Drew on our show tonight, Spaced Out Radio, I got to ask you this. In regards to crop circles and what they are creating, do you believe they are some sort of mathematical equation, art, humor, as you stated, or what do you think their purpose is?
Most of them are communications like alien charades by art. They're artworks that give a message. So our artwork just shows something like a flower, and their artworks are coded so as to give messages, universal messages, so they don't need to understand, like everybody on Earth with all the different languages can understand it. I was going to show you one, but I can't show a picture. if you go to that website, it said Crop Circle Connector 2020, and look at the most recent one in Brazil, in October 28th, you can immediately see the message. The pictorial messages, just like we would, without having to use English words, like they'd use universal symbols. There are math symbols in a lot of them, Euler's equation. They're very advanced. There are computer codes in some of them. What crop circles are, look, Dave, how do we communicate with dolphins in our oceans?
I have no idea because I am petrified of the ocean, man.
Okay, what do our scientists do to communicate with dolphins? They're clearly intelligent species. They make bubble circles in the bottom of the ocean. So you know what they do? In the middle of nowhere, they'll put a bubble generator or bubble circles, and it'll generate different kinds of bubbles. The dolphins will come in, swim around them, play with them, and interact with them. And they'll watch the dolphins doing that to learn how dolphins behave. That's exactly what happens with crop circles. They watch us, the crop circle comes, they watch the people coming and all that. So they call it the Dolphin Communication Project. So you might call the crop circles the Human Communication Project. We might have alien sociologists doing these things, seeing how we act, judging our species. This is a 30-year program prior to contact to characterize our species without actually having to come down to the ground and scare us, because we have a lot of bad traits. So a large part of the crop circles are just that, okay? That's what it is. They're preparing to make contact, and they're characterizing us. Imagine alien sociologists, what you would do. That's exactly what you would do, wouldn't you? Our astronauts go down, you wouldn't make contact immediately. You would study them for a long time. So this is the major purpose of crop circles, for sure.
Okay, are they... Let's just say that we do have aliens coming down from space, which I totally believe we do, to visit and probe Earth, if we could use that term correctly. Are they using it as almost like a navigation system as well?
Some people have suggested that. It's not proven, because it's really unprovable. Some people have suggested as an alternative to complementary theory. I wouldn't say alternative. I mean, you can't really know till you talk to people who did it, exactly why they're doing this program. But some people said what happens is there are multiple timelines for planet Earth. And if you're flying over a city and there are different event timelines, how do you know which city you're flying over? Have you navigated the multiverses right? So what they do is in each multiverse, they might put a different temporary crop picture. Like here, a circle here, a square there. And we don't know how many multiverses there are. So when the alien comes and flies over, he might see one in this field. He might have the lat and the long. He'll know where he is. There are signposts, and they only last for about, like ringtones, they only last for about a week. So it's an ideal way if you're navigating multiple realities, because the buildings would be the same, everything else would be the same. That's certainly a very substantial theory, but it's not proven. It's quite possible, yeah.
All right. Do we know anything about when they are going to arrive or how they're going to arrive?
It will be fairly soon. Personally, I think we'll get I don't know if they're going to come down, but personally, I think that by next summer, we'll get enough evidence for everyone to know that aliens are real by next summer, UFO sightings and things like that. We're not talking about 7 months, 8 months, okay?
How will we know? How are we getting closer to that?
Well, they've got a crop circle saying mothership, drawn in crops, so mothership, so evidently we're going to have a big sighting of some big UFO and the whole world photograph it at some point without scaring people. Also, if you study crop pictures at all, you'll learn that in the year 2012, according to the crop pictures, a mission of some sort left the Pleiades star cluster, at least in one universe, and they made a big point about June of 2012, and they entered a wormhole to come to Earth. There was a big crop picture in Italy showing that exactly, and there were others showing that they're still navigating the wormhole system to come here. And the whole time they were there, they could make crop pictures like we're doing this across continents. They could do across stars. They have instant communications across 440 light years. You've got to realize that they have instant comm systems. So they can send enough information to their probes here to draw something on Earth, even though they're still like 400 light years away. You've just got to, maybe it's quantum entanglement, I don't know how they do it. But what we're doing would be considered impossible to someone 100 years ago, right? So somehow they get the probes here and they do that. And they left on a mission for Earth, 2012, a mothership mission. There were 3 ships, and they've been in transit. So how long is it going to take them to get here? You know, 9 years is 2021. It's not that long. It's quite a reasonable time to travel from here, from a star system. So I guarantee, and they had a big mothership glass crop picture, which was 100% alien made. They're trying to debunk it. That means the mothership is coming. So they're in transit to Earth now. How much longer it'll be, I can't be sure. I suspect that we'll get the first sightings next summer. It could be longer. They've made jokes about them. You know, the movie The Arrival. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, they made a crop picture based on The Arrival. So they watch all of our movies, and they made a joke, and they put a little arrival clock. With years, in 14 years, how many years will be before we arrive? And that was in 2018. And it wasn't all 14 years. It's somewhere like between 0 and 7 years, okay? So we're talking about maximum 2025 for arrival. And that shows you're watching our movies. They're studying our science fiction shows, and you see this. You know, you don't have to study it. So they're in transit to Earth. There's a close link between them and the ancient Mayan people. Personally, what I think, however strange you may laugh at me, I think when the Mayan civilization collapsed about 900 AD, I think some of them went to the stars with the visitors, the Pleiadian visitors. And by this time, they would have had their own, maybe Earth Mayans are living on Pleiades. By this time, imagine what they'll come back as starship engineers or whatever. Imagine how advanced they must be. So we might, and you see like Mayan binary codes. They have computer binary codes using Mayan calendars. Now, how are we going to explain that without, the Mayans couldn't do that 800 years ago. So something's very funny going on. The Mayans were probably visited by these people. All the big pyramid system in Mexico, El Castillo, had helpers, visitors, and they have legends of this everywhere. And we may even meet Earth people, ancient Earth people may come when we meet them. It may not be aliens, it may be ancient Mayan people or something like that. So you're going to be open to all possibilities here. I'm not joking. And you just have to wait to see what happens. They won't tell us exactly, but I think we should I'm going to say, in my view, by next summer, the UFO cover-up may be over, okay?
Okay, so how are you getting this information? Is that just through crop circles? Or maybe you got a good alien friend who's telling you this? And I mean that with all due respect, that question.
Well, we have various sources of information, and I take all, but first we have crop circles, which a lot of them suggest for the last 10 years they're going to arrive on Earth sometime in the near future. 2021 is the earliest possible date, but I'd say 2030 is the latest date. In addition to that, we have, do you know who Linda Moulton Howe is?
Yes.
Earth Files, okay. Linda and I were working closely until she was told, I told her there's evil people, that she can't work with me anymore. She was sort of like intimidated, okay? So that's why I'm not working with Linda. And we have a lot of alien, in addition to the Rendlesham Forest Code, we have a lot of other authentic alien messages which have come, not all of which are in the public domain. It's not that I don't want to put it in the public domain, but anyone I work with is totally confidential. I never void a confidence no matter what. So people may ask me to translate their alien message, and I do it, and I have it, but I don't have permission to give it out to people, because if that's it's amoral. It's their information, it's their decision, right? So we have a lot of information that right now, Earth is facing a real threat from any alien races. There's a supervisory race, apparently, called the Council of five alien races. And I've got so many messages about this. And they're led by a very ancient alien race called the Emerther, Emerther. And they're sort of like Gralians, but they're, millions of years old. Imagine how far they are advanced to Earth, to us. And they have a supervisory role to protect our evolutionary development, like a Star Trek kind of you can't interfere with other alien civilizations. And there are other alien races, especially they tell them the Orions and the Zeta Reticuli too, who want to interfere. Earth's a nice livable place. They don't have a good planet to live on. Various things going on. So there's sort of a struggle for the control of Earth ongoing right now. I've had very, very serious warning messages about it. And we've had the UFOs sighted on webcams, very, very factual, very, very serious. And that's what's going on right now. And you can see the various factions in world affairs will probably reflect this as well. Various factions trying to get control of Earth. And literally, the reason I go on these shows is not for publicity. Literally, they say evolutionary advancement needed to prevent takeover, expose foreign technology to all citizens. And if we don't educate and bring everybody up, we have a chance of being taken over. We have an enemy threat. And the crop circles are one faction, of course. There's some other faction. You would expect that in any field of affairs, business, whatever, warfare, there's always somebody, your friend and somebody not. So that's what's going on right now. And I get messages from all those things, including time travels and things like that. And occasionally I do get psychic things, although I don't put as much weight on it. I have had real psychic communications because they don't talk. Well, you've got to realize something about the ETs. They don't have a mouth. So they maybe like text one another all the time and have brain interfaces. They don't actually talk like we're doing. They send electronic coded messages to one another like that. Probably little machines implanting their brains, and that's how they communicate. So I have all those things, and that's what, as a summary, that's what I'm giving you that information from right now.
Dr. Horace Drew is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have 3 minutes before we have to go to break here at the top of the hour. Dr. Drew, as we start to move into time travel here in hour 2, is there a relation between crop circles and time travel?
Well, yes, there definitely is, because the crop circle people definitely are, some of them are time travelers, because they show images in crops which happen later that nobody can know about. The easiest thing to do is talk about astronomical phenomena, not human phenomena. You know, they had a comet, 17P Holmes, and exploded in 2007. There were all these crop pictures about it in 2005. The Fukushima nuclear explosion in 2011, there are all these crop pictures about it in 2010. So the Comet Ison was another one. So you definitely see anticipatory. I've got a whole seminar about this. I can give you the link. So I summarize it. There are definitely images in crops that are done as many as 2 years before they happen, and the events they describe are not predictable in a human sense. So definitely they lie outside of what we call event horizon. So some of them definitely have time travel capability, 100%, and I can prove it in scientific fashion. That doesn't say exactly who they are. And so it's very real. I learned this like 13 years ago. So.
Okay, so if they are congruent with each other, and I think that's probably the first time I've used the word congruent on this show. It's a good word for me. Do we know where this is going, what it's all about? Are they time traveling to get here?
Some of them, yes. Some of them have definitely, where you include dimensional travel, like from parallel universes, crop circles come through wormholes. So they have little miniature wormholes. That's how they open up to make a crop picture. They see open radar, the British helicopters chase them, and that's how a little wormhole opens. They show up, and that's how crop circle researchers would follow the British military helicopters to find the new one, because they're following radar anomalies. So little probes come through, and that's actually how the crop circles are coming from. They call them conduits, like stargates, but very small. And so we don't actually know where they're coming from. They definitely, pictures of wormholes everywhere. They definitely have what's called wormhole technology, which is both space and time. And that's where the messaging is coming from. They're from a distance. It's just like we're talking now. You're not here in the room with me. We're sending it through a messaging system.
Very true.
So that's how it works, just like, but more sophisticated, yeah.
Okay. In regards to getting the craft here, would those wormholes be able to eat up a giant craft, like, say, a mothership that could be 10, 20 miles long in diameter?
Well, I don't know. We're going to find out, won't we? I don't know. Whether the probes they send are mostly small, like rugby balls, but if they can have a wormhole network from other ships, I suppose if you're advanced enough, you could. We have to just wait and find out. Don't be surprised if you see one soon. And now a lot of evidence that they can send big craft through wormholes. So we can't document that, but there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that's true. In which case, the whole galaxy is open to us, just like on Star Trek or something like that.
Right.
There are wormhole networks everywhere.
Right.
Which I suspect very strongly that's true. Yeah.
My friend, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are already at the top of the hour. 1 hour down. We got another 90 minutes with Dr. Horace Drew tonight on Spaced Out Radio. And when we come back from the break, we are going to be getting into time travel. How does it happen? Why does it happen? Do we already have the technology to travel into different times, into different dimensions? Dr. Horace Drew in hour 2, next on Spaced Out Radio. All right, Doc, I'm going to quickly run my dogs outside. I'll be right back. Just sit tight. We got 6 minutes, okay?
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a German Shepherd and a German Shepherd cross.
Yeah, I'm Red Collie because that was my Border Collie dog.
Nice. I'll be right back.
Okay, bye. I'm going to stand up and walk around.
Okay.
Blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go direct.
All right, boss, I'm back.
Were they getting anxious?
No, they're used to it.
I had a Border Collie for 16 years. 16 and a half years.
Oh, nice.
And then eventually it just got very sad. I had to put him down because of cancer.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it was very sad. The sad part is when you have to make the decision for them. If they just passed away, you wouldn't feel that bad, you know?
Oh, I hear you.
When you have to do it. It's just like killing your own son or something, you know? The doctor was crying. The vet was a very nice fellow, and he was crying having to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the worst part about dogs. Honestly, they don't live long enough.
Yeah, their clock's not set right. The aging clock
Nope.
is set incorrectly. Do you take true nitrogen?
Me, no.
There's a chemical. How old are you now, Dave?
I'm 47.
Okay, you don't need it yet. When you turn 50,
yeah,
there's a new additive which will slow your aging. It's fairly cheap. The scientific name is nicotinamide riboside. They sell it as True Nitrogen. We're launching the product in China, in another Chinese version of it, try to get the Chinese market. And it's sort of like when you get older, your body doesn't make enough chemicals to stay healthy.
Right.
Scurvy. It's just like scurvy, of a lemon. So you have to eat these extra supplements to supplement the chemicals your body's not making. It's age-related loss of chemicals, and that's about half of aging.
Right.
So I take them every day. I'm 65, and my hair is red. It's not gray. I'm probably 5-10 years less in aging because of it. I mean, you're still going to get older, but
yeah. Hold on 1 second here, bud, because we only got like 10 seconds. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has hit that subscribe button tonight. Thank you to Zoe Buttercup for the super chat. Remember to give us a like on this. And here we go with hour 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, especially if you're listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. And don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Philicology. Philicology is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue talking time travel tonight. Dr. Horace Drew is with us, all the way from Australia, by the way. Dr. Horace, welcome back.
Hello again.
All right, let's get into time travel. Do you think we have the technology to go back in time or into the future?
I don't think humans have it yet, but I think in the later part of this century they will. After we meet ET, we'll get it from ET. And I know that, for example, some of the ET messages I've gotten through these people, I've got a message, for example, a coded message, which was given by human particle physicists living in Jerusalem in the latest 2050, 2060, I'm not sure, 2070 exactly when. And they've sent it back in time through a conduit here in a mental conduit here in a military man here in our time in 2017, because they want to deliver a message back in time that way. Apparently CERN will discover reverse time particles sometime in the 2030s or 2040s. And these particle physicists actually tell them what experiments to do to discover these particles. So it's sort of like a loop, right? So these particles we discover, then you send out particles, they go back in time, you've got backwards time messaging. So I think that's very, very close. As soon as the particle physicists, want to follow my advice, we can do it. Because I've got their future people already have given a message how to do it. So it's pretty freaky, isn't it? But they haven't done it yet.
Okay, what about these people who believe that they already have time traveled?
Well, it's because time travel is spread out over, so it's hard to say when something starts and when it ends. It's not something where you can say it's here, not here, here, not there, and or maybe if we have a time travel link, for example, to this 2060, there might be a time machine here in 2020. I'm pretty sure there is, but that doesn't mean it's widely spread. It's hard to define that semantically as saying, is it here or is it not here,
So do you believe we are currently being visited by time travelers?
Yes, 100%. And
why do you believe that?
I'll get to you. What I would like to do is first, I don't want to sound too loose credible. Should we talk about the Rendlesham Forest case just to...
Sure. Let's go down that road.
To start from something solid, so it doesn't look like I'm making it up. I'm a scientist overall. Does all your readers know about the Rendlesham Forest time travel case?
Yes, we do.
Are you pretty familiar with the details of the binary code?
Well, we've heard a number of versions of it, so why don't you give us yours?
Well, I did the authentic version, okay? And the rest of it's just what Linda Howe asked me to do it, and Penniston says it's correct. So what happened was, in 1980, solidarity was gaining strength in Poland, and Russia was about to invade Poland to stop the breakaway of Poland from the Russian Empire. So Reagan and Thatcher secretly put nuclear missiles into southeast England near the Bentwaters base. So if Russia went with the armies, they could at least threaten the Russian armies with small tactical nuclear weapons, or maybe fire them. So we don't know how far that went, okay? There was a flashpoint like Cuba. And there were definitely nuclear weapons stored underground at Bentwaters and Rendlesham Forest right there, guarded by all these American servicemen like Jim Penniston, who's completely reliable, and John Burroughs, who I know, you know, these guys. So 3 nights around Christmas of December 1980, just to review, they had what I call a small alien craft, like half a dozen of them, come down. The Colonel Halt, the head of the base, saw beams coming down to the ground. They shut the nuclear weapons off in the bunkers. Jim and John saw one of these craft on the ground for an hour, walked around it. They lost 4 hours of missing time. When Penniston came back, something done to him mentally. He had all this binary code running through his head. And how many zeros and ones can you remember without thinking? 5 or 6?
Sure.
0, 1, 0, 1, you know. Most people 5 or 6. He had 1,000, and he had them all perfectly stored in his brain. And he had to write them down. Once he wrote them down, then he could relax again. He had a hypnotic compulsion to write them all down. So I talked to her friends. He put them in a safe. And later on, in the 2010, Linda Howe discovered he had these. He didn't want to release the whole code. Finally, I got all of it, okay? And I independently translated it. And there was no doubt that comes from a time-traveling craft. They say from the year 8100. However, there's a anomaly, which is going to be complicated. They give the origin of where they come from as the town of Woodbridge, England, to 6-digit accuracy. And you know what 6 digits in Latin longitude? It's about an inch. So the town center of Woodbridge on Google is their home base. However, they give the latitude twice. They give the longitude as west rather than east, there are no other errors in the whole message, okay? So it could be we're talking about a mirror universe or something, or a parallel universe in which west and east are reversed. So however crazy that sounds, that was certainly not without the realm of possibility. So when they say year 8100, that might not mean 8100 as we mean it. They might have a different year counting scheme, okay?
Okay.
You got that? It's a bit complicated.
I'm trying to get it, yes.
I'm just telling you, there are all sorts of things going on. They may not even come from our universe. They may come from a parallel universe, time traveling. So we don't know exactly what year they come from. They say year 8100 is the origin. They say they're the eyes of their eyes for their own people. They're coming back to explore, look at the pyramids. It's quite a long message. They're explorers. And then independently, 30 years later, we got another message from time travelers of the same people. These ones had the base in Woodbridge, England, their home base. This next base was in Nuremberg, Germany, and I translated that. So first it says exploration of humanity for planetary advance. The next message says continuous protection of humanity. It's the town center of Nuremberg, England. Now I know these aren't aliens because the coordinates were given in degrees and seconds. They weren't decimal. No alien's going to give a coordinate in degrees and there will be 54.45 will be an alien. But if you say 54 degrees in 10 seconds, that's got to be some human, right? So sometime in the future, there's a time travel base in Nuremberg, Germany. And this is why there was a big Nuremberg UFO incident in 1560, a battle over Nuremberg. that Nuremberg became a very famous time travel base, and someone went back in time to try to destroy it, like 1560. That's where the Nuremberg sky UFO battle took place. Two UFO fleets flying over Nuremberg. There were very famous UFO incident in history. So I know all that. So there are these time travel things going on all the time. So there's constantly people trying to change the timeline, others trying to correct it. It looks like a constant ongoing battle. So this is very well documented. In the case of the Rendlesham Forest, they didn't want Europe to become radioactive, because if it had in that timeline, they've all gone sterile. They wouldn't have had children in the distant future. That's what happens if you blow up an atom bomb over France. You're in the distant future, you accumulate mutations in your DNA, you can't have children. So they had to stop the nuclear explosion, and they did that. The colonel of the base, in charge of 30 nuclear weapons, testified it's true, and outdid the code, and there's no doubt in my mind there's a high chance they stopped a nuclear war exchange between the US and Russia, or in Europe. So that would be a change in our timeline. And that already happened in the early 1980s. Now, most people can't process that. But I want you to think about that for just a little while, because there's so many people involved. Like all the top U.S. military, about 30 nuclear weapons. We're talking about colonels, heads of the bases, and crafts on the ground. Where the craft landed, it was radioactive. So the case evidence for that is just like off scale forensically that really happened. Okay?
Okay.
So we've got travel.
Right.
We don't know everything, but we say time travel, yes, it's happening, okay? We've got it. It's true. Okay. So that first case is probably the gold standard. That's why Linda Howes talked about it so much. It's probably the gold standard UFO case, okay? Now, more recently, in crop circles the crop circle people are time travelers, but they're more cryptic. You see something drawn in crops, it hasn't happened yet, and you get a lot of these things. This is very common. So if something's drawn in crops, it may refer to something that hasn't taken place yet. And there are quite a lot of these things. It may be like nova, for example. When do we see a distant star go nova? And they drew one star, they drew a crop circle like in 2013, and the next day a star went nova. And then they put 94 little dots inside the same crop circle. 94 days later, another star went nova. Now, there's no way, for a different thing, there's no way anybody can know that because the light hadn't yet reached Earth. So we know that's true. We document that's true. But it's very cryptic of exactly what they want to do in crop circles. But you definitely a crop circle, they have time travel technology, okay?
Okay, so are the pyramids related to time travel?
I don't know. There may have been some alien involvement. I don't really have any evidence for that. I mean, personally, I would tell you, I'm a scientist. I don't know about every subject, okay? There could be more likely just ET visitors, you know.
Do you think aliens helped build the pyramids?
Well, look, do you know about the ones at Nazca Lines, the aliens down there who built the Nazca Lines?
Yeah, that's some interesting stuff there.
Yeah, now I know two first-hand people who have researched it. Jaime Masson spent all his money on it. Jaime's a friend of mine. And there's a Peruvian woman here who gave a seminar on it, and she's been there, seen the mummies. First-hand knowledge of someone who's been in Peru, who I know quite well. And there's no doubt they got three-fingered alien mummies down there who helped them draw those things in the ground. And they've covered that up as well as possible. The DNA analysis would be the big thing to prove it, and they've covered that up. They haven't let the DNA analysis be done. So the fact that we do know there are three-fingered reptilian aliens down there in they found some of them in the ET advisors helping them make these things on the plane that can only be seen from the air. We're pretty sure 90% that those were made with the assistance of friendly ETs. So just put that into perspective, you know?
Okay, so when we added all this together, do you believe that aliens, even though they've been coming here for centuries, if not millennia, that they are coming here via time travel, or that's just the period they showed up here?
I think it's both. I mean, they're both. Some of them, the Rendlesham Forest aliens have been back to see the pyramids. They've got it in their code. They've been back to see, thousands of years they've gone back, to see these, like tourists. So they can go, but whether they actually go as a big mission, we don't really know. I mean, just consider time as a highway to be traveled. And if you have the technology, so it could be anything. I don't really know, but I know the technology exists for sure. I've seen lots and lots of examples of it. And humans will have it, but before the end of this century, humans will have access, I don't know about travel, but we'll have access to messaging. So we can do like on Skype, I can talk with you, actually physically can go there. I know that we'll have access to that tech before the end of this century.
Hold on.
So,
hold on a second here. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. We're going to be able to have the ability to talk with the past or the future?
Yeah, as soon as I don't know about the future, but look, as soon as CERN discovers particles that go back in time, which apparently they will in about 20 years, according to the message, the secret coded message I got, as soon as CERN gets those experiments and finds those particles by collisions, probably of intense laser light, called squeeze laser light, I've got the message instructions, set up a big particle accelerator and find those. Then you can use those as source particles to send messages back in time. Just like you have a telegraph with sending through wires, or we're doing Wi-Fi. Radio waves weren't discovered until 1886 by Hertz in his room. So that's only 140 years ago. So imagine if there are particles that can go back in time, and you can use those as a communication medium. So if we discover those, which seems very likely, we should have access to that tech in this century, I don't know about forward.
Okay, will we all have access to this, or will this be a secret governmental or scientific subject? Because, go ahead.
I know that particle physicists in this timeline where I got the message have access to it. They describe it in great detail in the coded messages. Let me just point out that the U.S. military has copies of these messages, and I'm just not allowed to release it. But the U.S. military also has copies, and they're not releasing this information to the public. Okay. So I'm not making anything up. There's lots of stuff classified. When it's going to be, I don't know exactly. But it's not really that strange to think that we didn't even know about radio waves. To think that some particle, we just got Wi-Fi. We're talking live stream between here and Canada, which wouldn't have been possible 10, 20 years ago. To think further advances of this kind may take place is not that unreasonable at all. People will take it for granted probably. You have to be careful, of course. You can't just have everybody talking into the past, because it would cause a lot of troubles. But I'm sure there's certain cases where it happens,
Okay, so if this is supposed to come to fruition in the next 20 years or so, that would probably mean 40 years before we get it into the public. I mean, that means that people today could already be receiving messages from the future.
Indeed. And I've already translated one such message, which is completely reliable. And I don't know how it was sent exactly, but I know it's a message from the future. And they're actually warning us about how to change history so that their future doesn't happen. These are desperate people. And they want us to change it. Change this. And I will release that when I can. If official government agency comes to me, I will release it. But that's not the sort of thing you put out on the internet, is it? You don't put that on the internet. So it's not what you would do. However, if they say, if the Trump came or someone major intelligence agency said, "Can I have this?" Yeah, for sure. I just don't want to get the people. For sure you can. I think they have copies already. So, but they're not a lot of these messages. A lot of them. The other thing which you're going to find shocking is, it's possible that human time travelers are currently active on our internet, which they can interact with anybody, know who they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe then the story of John Titor?
Probably not. I don't know John Titor, but I know nothing about John Titor. So I know he talked about it, but I have nothing. It sounded so crazy I didn't believe it. It doesn't mean it's not true, but I know nothing about that.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's true. I just don't know anything about it.
Do you think you have talked to time travelers as of now?
I will give you indication in this radio segment sometime what happened, and you can make your judgment for yourself. One other thing was, I don't want to say too much, okay? But I would say there's certain time travelers right now active on our internet, busy changing history and doing things like that. What I think is really useful to do, rather than speculate, I was just talking to Jason Dean about an hour or two ago, and I think the useful way to prove this is to list the time travel predictions they make for the next few months and see whether those predictions are true or not true, rather than saying I know for sure. If they prove true, I've documented my case. If it proves false, then we forget about it and say, well, wasn't right. Is that a good scientific way to do it?
Could very well be.
Yes, that's actually how I prefer to do it, because you're asking things I don't know. Something's predicted and it's going to happen in the future. Hell, I don't know if it's going to happen in the future, but I can know certain things have been predicted by people seem to have been predicted. I know a lot of very serious people, high-level defense people, are following the same thing as me because I talk to them. And they concern current events and things like that, especially the contested American election and all the power struggles there. So I think what I'd like to do is, rather than me saying I know something for sure, I'd like to just repeat to you the coded messages which I and others have gotten. And if it turns out these messages turn true, like in some time, then we were right. If it wasn't, then we weren't correct. And that's what scientists do. Like, I have a garage lab and I do experiments. You build a thing, and either the experiment turns out right or not, but you still do the experiment. If the experiment doesn't work, it didn't work. There's nothing wrong with doing the experiment, right? And then you learn it wasn't right. So that's the scientific way. We'll talk about those things, but we like to do it in a way which is factually conditional. Like, we'll say this is our hypothesis, and the only way to know for sure if these things really come true or not. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, we can definitely do that in our next segment, as we only got about 3 minutes left. Let me ask you this. Have you personally put out any sort of codes or anything that a future time traveler or a future you can go back and find and report back to you?
I'll put out messages on the web because I know time travelers will be reading my messages, yes. I haven't actually response for them. We have had just one case where we got a indirect communication, but completely convincing by a time traveler on August 24th. And I'm willing to tell you what happened, but it'll take about 10 minutes. And we start in the next segment. But I'll tell you something, and you can just make a judgment for yourself, Nate. I was amazed. Often when these things happen, you're so amazed it takes you a little while to digest something that really happened, okay?
Oh, but, I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean,
I have something for you. What I'll do is I'll tell you a private communication in the next segment, and I'll tell you exactly what happened, and you can make a decision for yourself. I'd show photos, but you have to just follow along. It wasn't just me, other people involved, and you can decide for yourself, okay?
Absolutely. So before we go, as we only got about 2 minutes here, how many people were involved in this study?
There's one time travel site on Twitter. He puts out coded messages, and I'll get into it. And there was just me and a few other people, like 3 or 4 of us. We got the coded message, which was correlated with something going on, and there was no doubt it was a direct message. We were being observed covertly around the planet. It was some sort of high tech we don't know about. I'll just tell you about it. It's easier. And it happened just after the crop circle had appeared. There was a message related to the last crop picture in England, and I translated it, and then something related to that attracted my attention on the web because somebody knew what the secret message from the crop picture was. So that's how I got into it. It was August 9th, I think, August 16th. Someone on the web put out something I just put on the Crop Circle website, and nobody would have known. So that's how I got into it, like about 3 months ago. And then we got another one after that, another one. So this is actually the most active time travel incident I know of, and apart from Rendlesham. I'm aware these things are just irrelevant. It's relevant to like what's happening. It's not just some crazy thing. And testable. You know, Judd Fermi's son, Enrico Fermi, asked, why did you blow up the island in Bimini? He said, with a nuclear bomb. He said, it'll be a great experiment. So this would be a great experiment to find out if time travel is really true. We don't know, but we can make a testable hypothesis and see whether it comes true or not. That's all a scientist can ever do. And that's what I am. I'm not a new age spaced out person, you know.
Oh, nothing with being wrong with being spaced out around here. Just so you know. Yeah. Just so you know.
No, I'm not criticizing, but I'm trained in 40 years in science, so I'll do new things, but I always make it testable and step-by-step testable. So just to assure you people I'm not crazy, I'm actually, and because it's so important. I mean, Einstein, that's how he got general relativity.
True.
By bending of light around the sun. If you don't do the experiment, you can't get general relativity.
Dr. Horace, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Horace Drew continues to talk time travel here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to the future right after this break. All right, my friend, we're clear.
I'm going to do it.
This
I
is
can
good
sort
stuff
out-
here. Good
Take
stuff.
So I don't say too much.
Yeah, don't say anything good here. Not that I don't love the YouTube crowd, but they don't need the full juice yet. We need the entire show to get the juice here.
No, I'm just sorting it out logically so I can communicate. It's hard to communicate,
Oh, it's heavy stuff, man. Heavy
It's
stuff.
heavy stuff. Exactly why I'm trying to get a logical thing where I can do it quickly. I'm just looking through my notes. I made a bunch of notes. I talked to Jason Dean earlier. It's easier when you have a picture you can show rather than talk about it. And that way I can just show you the picture. But doing it by voice is quite hard.
Right.
To make it convincing.
If you send me a picture, I can put it up on our YouTube channel.
It's okay. I can do it later. Wait a second.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is this is the time travel meat of it. What I'm going to do is I'll tell an incident, a recent incident, which I don't know if it's time travel, but it's very, very ET paranormal proven. Okay.
All right. Well, we will get to it then.
And then I'll talk about a few other things related to it. I just take a factual proof what I've done myself. There's nothing better than that. Me and other people. And it's provable. I mean, it's objectively provable. So, however strange it may be. Hang on. I'm just looking through my things here. Make it as small and simple as possible. Okay, I think I can do it.
All right. We've got, let me see here. We've got about 3 minutes here.
You have about 30 minutes left in the whole show?
No, you and I have an hour left together. We have another break at the top of the hour.
Okay. Let's just talk about this one thing then.
Yeah, man.
And then, because I don't want to do too much, because it's a hard subject. I mean, when you get freaked out, like, when these things happen to anybody, it takes you a while to digest it yourself.
Well, I can tell you this. I've been face-to-face with aliens, so not much freaks me out anymore. Plus, you wouldn't believe the sight of my ex-mother-in-law. That's just fucking scary right there.
What'd she see?
Oh, my ex-mother-in-law? Just the horror of life, right? But the aliens I've face-to-face, one giant-headed gray and one tall, I don't know what the hell it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, not all of them are pleasant.
Oh, yeah. It's terrible. Terrible.
How long did this happen?
Let's see. The horror of the ex-mother-in-law started in 1995.
What happened to her exactly?
Pardon me?
What happened to her exactly?
Oh, she's just the... what happened to the ex-mother-in-law was a house landed on her sister, and they put the ruby red shoes on me, and she wanted to kill me for them. So that's what happened with her. Just evil, evil woman. And with the aliens there, they happened in 2014 was the one in the forest, and then 2015, April of 2015, the guy at my window.
What did he look like?
The guy at my window is a big-headed gray.
Yeah, some of them you see, these Emerthers, the Emerther aliens sort of look like grays, but they're very, very advanced and docile. It's like dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are scared of German Shepherds. So dog breeds. Some dogs are extremely friendly, others are vicious. So I think about it. And there's a wide variety. How close did you see the one? Was it daytime when you saw it?
Which one? The one in the forest or the one at the window?
The one at the window.
Oh, it was during this show. I was about 6-7 feet away.
And was it daylight? Oh, was it daylight?
No, nighttime.
Yeah, and how tall was he?
5 feet. All I saw was the head.
Did he look at you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he...
Did you get a message?
Well, he's now our show mascot named Carl.
I mean, did you get any sort of like mental thing? You wrote it down or anything?
No, nothing like that.
A lot of people do.
Yeah. Oh, I know that. We got 15 seconds here.
Okay, I've got a good story. I'm going to have a simple, I think I do it simple, one step at a time.
Okay, hold on. Sit tight here because we're going to bring this back here. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I'm your host, Dave Scott, the guy behind the microphone and the guy who delivers you all the woo that you need. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we continue on talking time travel. Dr. Horace Drew joins us all the way from Australia. Dr. Drew, welcome back.
Hello again.
Time travel. You're going to break down a code for us.
Well, what I'd like to, in general, what I'd like to consider possible is, are time travelers on our internet, and they can interact with us without being seen or doing too much? And I would say yes, due to recent evidence I've seen. This began some years ago in various instances, and then it's sort of come to a head. I'm not the only person. They're like a big community on now, of very skilled military people who are following this subject. The interesting thing was, it started for me about August 16 I've got here. What happened was I analyzed all the crop pictures as they come along. There was a very famous crop picture on August 9th at Woolston Wells in England. And I did the analysis for Mark, who's the Crop Circle Connector 2020 website. And then about a week later, on Twitter, a video was posted, about 50,000 views immediately, and somebody sent it to me. And it showed an ET spaceship coming through a space-time wormhole, going into orbit around Earth and landing in a wheat field where crop pictures are drawn. So, and then when I looked carefully, I saw this video was overlaid with images of the crop picture that appeared. They're called planetary gears, these gears moving around to tell you when that's going to happen, which might be like next summer, I don't know. So it matched conceptually a crop picture that had just appeared 1 week earlier in England. So 50,000 people quickly watched this, and the code for it was black, meaning they'd come through a black hole. So this got my attention, and I thought I would study this and see where it went. Okay? How did they know? Is there something going on here? I don't really know. So then 8 days later, I've got it written down here, on August 24th, 2020, the same fellow on Twitter posted a code, which took me about 6 hours to solve, as a hash. Anyway, I won't explain. It's about a very high level of coding. And he calls himself Mr. Pool, P-O-O-L, because it's a mirror for what's called a loop in time. Loop and pool are mirror images of one another. So he's come back through a loop in time, which is a classic time travel. He calls himself Mr. Pool, which means he's come through a loop in time. It's called a closed time-like curve. And there are a bunch of them. There are quite a few people, like 6 Twitter sites all associated with one another doing this. So it was a mystery. So anyway, I got this coded message, and I decoded it myself for about all day. And finally, the short phrase was, quote unquote, soon, comma, everything will make sense. Soon, comma, everything will make sense. So at that point, I was just proud of myself for solving this complex code, like 4 layers of coding. And I posted that I'd solved it. One of the fellow had solved it, a computer expert. And I put my solution online. I didn't know what it meant, but I was just really happy I'd carried out this task right, because I hadn't really learned how to solve these codes before. You know, it's a good feeling, like you've done something right. You solved a mathematical problem. And then a few hours later, after we posted a solution, the same gentleman, Mr. Poole, posted the precise latitude and longitude of a rocky, uninhabited island in Rhode Island Sound called Despair Island on his website. The reason was because people had died there in shipwreck a bit earlier. So Mr. Poole, on August 24th, he put latitude under the code 41.6079 north, longitude 71.3612 west. So I went to Google Earth. I said, where is this? And it's some little rocky island called Despair Island. It's in Rhode Island Sound. And I looked at it where it was out in Rhode Island Sound, and it's just this rocky island, just to the west of Prudence Island, Patience Island. It was just a piece of rock out in the middle of nowhere. So why would anybody give the Latin longitude of Despair Island, the northern tip, with the coded message, soon, everything will make sense? So it was a mystery. At that point, I realized slowly, one of my crop circle colleagues, who was heavily involved as well, an American, she was on a boat with her husband and another fellow in Rhode Island Sound on that day. So just following up on it, I didn't tell her what the message was or whether she, I didn't say anything about Mr. Poole. I said, were you on the boat that day? She says, yes, our boat broke down. We had to make this thing. I said, can you do a map on Google Earth and just draw a little line to show me where you went on the boat? What was your track on the boat? Just draw it for me. And I have the map here. I will show you. Without telling her anything, she drew this line. It went right around, and it passed within about 1 football field of the latitude given by Mr. Poole, like 100 meters. As close as you can get, it's very rocky, of Despair Island. So I thought, that's a strange coincidence. There's something very funny here, right? So my next thing to ask her was, and she does crop circles with me all the time, like does my videos. I asked her, and her husband builds submarines for the U.S. government, very reputable. I asked her, what were you talking about on the boat, which was being towed away? What were you talking about? I thought it might be something relevant to the code. And she said to me, without knowing anything about the message, she told me, we are so frustrated with the political situation in America, we are all saying loudly to one another, nothing makes any sense. Nothing makes any sense. I hadn't told her anything about the code. So they're arguing back and forth saying, nothing makes any sense, nothing makes any sense. So then whoever Mr. Poole was, he told the exact longitude and latitude where they were, unseen. There was no other boat there. There were no other boats in the water. It was rough. And he put back the coded reply, soon, everything will make sense. Okay. So what we're talking about here, I checked it out, and there was no funny debunking or anything. So they had some observational device watching the boat, I don't know why, and the coded message through Twitter came by from someone watching her, listening to her conversation, and it was a reply, don't worry, soon everything will make sense. Now, I don't know if it's ET, it might be there's a time travel team, maybe her son's on the team, or it could be anything really. But whatever it is, I know no human being in our society has the technology to do this. We see this tech in crop circles quite a lot. People talk about this happening, but it's one of the rare times outside of crop pictures, and I was right involved with the whole thing, and I told you factually. Now, I'm going to stop now just to let you digest that for a second. So at that point, I knew that Mr. Poole, whoever he is, has access to very high tech that humans don't have on Earth today. That was my derived conclusion. Now, I'd let you see what you think of that before I go any further.
Well, I'm trying to figure out why this person would use Twitter instead of maybe a private email or something along those lines.
Well, they want it to be seen by everybody, and there's a very famous website followed by millions of people called the 17 website. I can't give the letter name. You know what that is? In America.
Nope.
Sanctioned by the U.S. government as disgraceful. The OP space S, RS. You can't say it because YouTube censors it.
Okay.
Quince, quiet.
Okay. I'm lost.
You don't know about this?
No.
You don't know about this. You never heard about the Q website?
Oh yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I know where you're going with that now. Okay. So
it's not a fake. So there's a time travel, very strong time travel element involved with that as well. Time travel is fun. It's not just normal military people. It's not debunkers. It's nothing like that. And you can study it, and I knew this was something like that. So you just can't believe the mainstream media. You hear anything, and it's all real. So there's some relation between these people and those people, and actually I can't get into it anymore. So there's an open website right there followed by millions of people. So evidently they want to be followed by millions of people. Right now they're like 50, 60,000, 100,000 just watched the latest pool video from a few days ago. So it's been a way of influencing large amounts of humanity in a very safe, distant fashion, okay?
All right, not a problem.
So I know you've heard things about it, but the media doesn't tell you the truth about this. I don't know the full story, but I know this is some time travel. It even says time travel is fun. There are quite a lot of time predictive things there. So this is another example of the same thing. We've got one on 8chan, we've got some on Twitter, and there seem to be quite a lot of them. You know, actually there's more than one. We're talking about maybe 6. And they have a plan. There's a lot of overlap. Like Mr. Poole talks about the plan to change history. There's almost the same overlap. So they may not be the same person, but it might be the same group of people. You know, you've got to get that in your idea, okay? Some on Twitter, some on 4chan, some on 8chan. There's quite a few of them, you know, actually. It was surprising how many there are, like a half a dozen or something. So you have to accept that time travelers might actually find that a good way to do things, go on the internet and anonymously put stuff out. And they don't have to interact with anybody. They can't, you know, they can be very careful what they do. They can change popular opinions. Okay. Now, just as proof, you don't believe that, I went through Mr. Poole's website. He's on Twitter. And he actually published all these things before the COVID lockdown. Did you have lockdowns in Canada?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So, in December, you need proof already. In December and January, he published all these images. There'd be a lockdown. First, he published images of a virus. I've got it right here, December. It doesn't exactly COVID virus, but it's a related one. December 19th. December 7, 2019, there'd be a virus coming. And then he's got here, I will show you the things. He put handcuffs. People are going to be locked in their homes with a key. That was February 15th. And he's got another one here. There's a whole bunch of them. A man wearing prisoner's clothes, getting snake eyes. Snake eye dice, rolling the dice. He's a prisoner. So they've got lockdowns, handcuffs, prisoners, virus. That was all done about 2 months before they locked down anything. So even President Trump didn't know, leaders of country, that would happen at this point. So we've got, that was just some major event was already known to them 2 or 3 months before it happened. And I've got all the, I could show you, I'll show you the pictures here. So you have to accept there's some future predictive thing happening already. So added to all the other stuff I said, and there are a few other things like that, added to all the other stuff I said, there's really quite a good body of circumstantial evidence that these people really are time travelers or some sort of travelers of this sort. And they're certainly not normal fakers or anything like that, okay?
Okay.
So I'm not making things up. I've got it, I could say a thing. So I think the thing to do now, I believe there are time travelers. The best way to test whether it's real, we have to test, right?
How do we test it? How do we test it?
You agree there's circumstantial evidence, but we need to test it. And that's what a scientist does. See, it's pretty circumstantial, but I'm going to test it again. And if it comes out again, then I'll be very confident. That's what I'm just leading you up to that. I'm not saying it's nailed in proof, okay? The way to test it again is see what other predictions he makes right now, and we'll tell you in the next month or two whether they come true. Things that are so improbable that they couldn't have possibly been faked, okay?
All right.
You happy with that?
I'm happy with it. Nail it.
That's exactly what I was leading up to with all this long thing. So get out your piece of pencil and paper if you want to know. I'm going to give you 3 of them, or 2 or 3 of them, of things that he says is going to happen. I'm going to give you exactly proven, and we'll see whether it happens or not, okay?
Sounds
and they all
good.
relate to this. It turns out, for whatever reason, they all relate to this chaos in America. I wouldn't call it an election. I'd call it a power struggle. More like a power struggle. And they all relate to this. So here's the first one. Number 1, on November 17, 2019, which was a long time ago, a defense contractor showed me this, and I reconfirmed the coding. He published this highly coded time travel message. The storm is here, rain will begin shortly, water is getting colder, gold standard, no turning back since 2012, banknotes crash. Now, that hasn't happened yet. Now, there's one critical line from this message, which is happening right now, and it was published on November 17, 2019. And I want you to write it down. And I've documented. This hasn't something recent. He did this a year ago, okay? And I've translated it myself to confirm. It's referring to the Biden-Trump election. And the three words are reversal, reset, judge. Reversal, reset, judge. And just this morning, I saw Biden has been reversed down to below 270. The election's open. It's still not open. He hasn't won. And it's going before the Supreme Court judges. Okay? So we've got something from like a year earlier that there were reversal, reset, judge to the election. So Trump's not out of it yet. And incidentally, on the very day when they announced Biden was the winner, Mr. Poole wrote the word 100%, like it was 100% certain maybe that Trump would win. So when that wasn't expected by anybody else, okay? So that's the first prediction. There'll be this process, reversal of the election results, a reset of the election results, some decision by a judge, and Trump will win the election by some narrow margin, I would suspect, okay? I'm not for or against, I'm just saying what I'm following this, okay? Right. Narrow margin, 5 votes. Reversal, reset, judge. Now, this wasn't last week, this was a year ago. Now, who would have foreseen this a year ago?
I think everybody, I mean, because he's been talking about I don't want to get too much down the political road because we try not to go down that road, but I think the current sitting president has been discussing fraud for well over a year. So I think it's pretty obvious.
And the next thing is not obvious at all. Then that was the first thing, reversal, reset, judge. The judge will make a decision. So it's pretty improbable a year ago, November 2017. The next thing is going to get you, and we'll see, and you can confirm it right now, November 3rd and November 4th, 2020, Mr. Poole published 2 more things. And this is a really good indication of whether it comes true or not. Now, you can go to his Mr. Poole Twitter page and just confirm it. 50,000 people have watched each of these. So November 3rd, I'm saying it because it's relevant. I'm not for being political. For or against November 3rd, 2020, he published a video which shows you lose your TV signals. And the soundtrack said faintly, "This is a national emergency." And then the coded message, which I and other people said, this is before the votes came in on November 3rd, "The fun is about to begin." November 3rd, 2020, this is a national emergency. And then November 4th, 24 hours later, he said, "Stand by, double meaning." And now we had a TV, no signal, we lose signals like emergency broadcast. And the soundtrack says, "This is not a test." There'll be the emergency broadcast system and list a whole series of major U.S. cities where rioting is taking place. Now, the only way this would take place, Boston, New York, Pennsylvania, 6 of them, and this was before the reset late on election night, it was all done. So the only way this possible future could take place is if Trump wins and there's mass rioting across the USA and a national emergency is called. Now, you would think that's never going to happen right now, okay? First of all, you don't think he's going to win. Secondly, you don't think it's going to get severe enough a national emergency is called. Thirdly, you don't think the emergency broadcast system is going to be used. Now, I'm not trying to be for or against anybody. I'm reporting what the thing is here. So if these predictions come true, and you can verify them, just go to Mr. Poole on the Twitter. You can look yourself. Then we have to say, no one could have predicted that, and there's really good evidence for time travel. And there are a few other things. I just didn't want to get too complicated. So right now, that's where it stands. Reversal, reset, judge, and there'll be mass riots. The fun's beginning, and there's a little more, and a national emergency is going to be. And we're talking about an atomic scale national emergency. We're not talking about a few National Guard. And you can confirm it for yourself. Just go to Twitter, and it's being highly watched by like 100,000 people. So we have to actually consider these as tests. For me, these are tests of the time travel hypothesis. It's not going for or against one candidate, but finding out whether there's no really possible way it's so improbable that no one really thinks it's going to happen right now. You thought maybe the other thing would happen. So there are a few other things, but that's where it stands right now. The other things about the storm, other predictions, but I just wanted to stop here because it's very topical. And all of your readers know that. So we'll see whether or not, the ultimate test is you just have to see whether it comes true or not. I think it's very possible. I've seen so much other stuff, it has come true, that this guy does see 2 or 3 weeks in the future. This is why I'm telling you. But we can't just make it up. We have to say now. And if it comes true in 2 or 3 weeks or a month, then we say, oh, now we documented it beforehand. So that's exactly what I'm doing now. If it turns out to be wrong, just wrong. That's what, experiments fail all the time. But I thought it's important enough because for the first time in history, if it does come true, we will know, Dave, that time travel is a reality. And that's why I'm doing it. It's not political. You're not offending anybody. But we'll know that time travel is a reality if it happens. It's very, very important. It will surpass general relativity. So you can see why, you understand as a scientist why it interests me. So that's why I'm telling you that. Now, we can talk about other things, but I wanted to get that out at least.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you to the Desert Clam on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio for bringing up Mr. Poole's Twitter account here. His account was joined in October of 2019.
Right.
And he's following zero. He's got 15,500 followers. And, I mean, to me, as someone who doesn't understand code, I'm going to be honest, it looks like a bunch of gibberish to me That's right. that
he's locked out his account so you can't get more followers. So he's limited the number of followers. He's locked it out. That's why it's not 100,000 followers. It's not gibberish. It's all high-level computer code. So whoever he is, it's NSA-style computer code. Okay. So you can look for yourself. I'm just telling you. You don't have to understand the code. I'm telling you what happened and what it means. Now, whether you're skeptical, not skeptical, we'll see whether it comes true or not. And I'm just telling you, this is the most valid time travel thing around, which is potentially it could prove time travel way more than all the other things, because it's relating also to current events. So if it comes true, then the probability against this is just like like 1,000,000 to 1. It's not, nobody could fake this. So we have to actually. I've been doing this since about August. And there are a lot of high-level defense people, computer people, doing it as well. It's not like people take it very seriously. You have intel agents on the page trying to debunk it. One of those guys went after me. So whoever is doing it is taking it very seriously. They don't want Twitter to delete the page, so they're keeping it very cryptic. All those little things you see there, you have to learn how to read high-level code to read them. They're very highly coded. It took me all day to read one message.
Well, so I tell you what I'm going to do here for you. Is Bob McGuire, who is our resident scientist here. He was on the science and mathematical faculties for Virginia Tech University until he retired earlier this year. I'm going to send him to this, and I'm going to get him to check it out. Because if anybody knows this stuff, when it comes to binary, I'll tell you right now, I have no clue. I have zero clue whatsoever. But I'm going to see what Science Bob has to say about this because, this is a gentleman, where he knows more about mathematics in his one pinky than I do in my entire body. So
that's fine. I can tell you 100% that the coded mathematics is correct because I'm not the only one doing it. Like three different...
No, I'm not saying that you aren't. I want to get confirmation for myself on this.
I'll teach him. If he wants to see how any message is decoded, I've got a file of them, as do several other people. I'll just send the email to you, and you've got the code right in front of you, how it was done. If not keeping it secret. I don't know, of course, it's a time travel code, but it's a very sophisticated, high-level NSA-type coding scheme, okay? So not many people can read it, like 3 or 4 people, and including this computer expert, this guy there better than me. And so whoever it is, it's not like a crazy thing at all. I can't prove it's time travel, but I thought it's certainly in the world events worthwhile paying attention to it. Now it's the highest candidate for time travel that I've seen. The best candidate. These are real time travelers. And it's going on all the time. I was just talking to the other guys. There's a whole group of people, sophisticated people studying this. So go and send your friend. If he can't figure out how to read the code, I will show him. Just ask me to contact me. I'll send him and show him how to do it.
Well, I know there's a number of scientists who listen to this show that, who have intrigue in these exact subjects, so you might be able to get some help here.
Yeah, I'm not actually, there's people a lot better than me doing it already. I'm quite happy. I keep files. I can send them an email. and show exactly that's all reputable. There's no fakery or anything like that. There's no, it's cryptic, but no.
My friend, you hold on right there. I got to go to break here at the top of the hour. Spaced Out Radio Hour 3 coming up next. Sorry about that, brother. I just needed to get to break. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Well, that's fine. You can talk about something else. That's fine.
Yeah.
Have your professor friend do anything you want. I've got emails.
Yeah.
off.
No. I'm very curious about this. Hey, I just got to run my dogs out one more time. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightline Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hey, Space Travel.
All right, my friend, I am back.
How much time do you have left? 30 minutes?
We've got 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Would you like to do something with UFOs?
Yeah, we could go UFOs, sure.
I have a very interesting thing, but the reason I haven't done it, you have to Google a phrase and find one of my articles.
Yeah, we can go wherever, man.
And I'll show you what an alien binary code looks like.
Sure.
In a message. because I know this is another thing I've been doing with Linda. If you can look up a novel multiplex binary code, can you do that?
A novel
multiplex. Just say multiplex. Multiplex.
Yeah.
Binary code.
Yeah.
Was shown.
Yeah.
To a UFO contactee, CJ. And just do that in Google, and you should come up with it. It has like 300,000 hits on it already anyway.
Yeah, that's on Pinterest there in 2016. Okay, I'm clicking on that.
Crop circle connector to the original article, yeah.
All right.
Novel multiplex binary code, okay? Now
Sure.
This is a very, 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 very UFO interesting. You can't get any more interesting than this. I wanted to do I told you to do time travel and UFOs.
Sure. Let's
Because
do
this
it.
is a well-documented UFO sighting as well.
All right, let's do it. We're on in about 45 seconds.
So you might have to refer your readers to this article. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Now, if you scroll down there, look down at the pictures. That's what the code looks like. You ever seen anything like that before?
I'm trying to find that here because it's on Pinterest.
Just click. You've got to go to crop circle connector. Click on the link.
Okay. I'm there. All right.
You find it?
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Okay.
You see the strange-looking thing with squares and all that?
Yes, got it.
Okay, that was my original article like 4 years ago.
Okay.
It's probably the greatest.
Hold
there's
on,
a lot.
bud. Hold on. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us tonight. We welcome back everyone tuning in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Also, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Philicology. Philicology is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce scientist Dr. Horace Drew. We're going to get into some UFOs here. He's joined us all the way from Australia. Dr. Drew, welcome back.
Hi.
Now, you wanted to bring up a code that can be found at cropcircleconnector.com that you wrote back in, I believe, 2016. What is
an article?
Yes, it's called a novel multiplex binary code, which was shown to a UFO contactee named CJ. What's this all about?
It's very, very important. And I wanted to get through the time travel stuff, and now we can, in time travel, you may not believe it, but this is another big UFO sighting over Georgia in late June of 2015, and it was on NASA sky cams, whatever, and there were a fleet of 10 big UFOs. One of them, several hundred meters wide, with symbols on it, came down over the road. Trucks pulled off the road. There was a military man there with his kids driving to Colorado or wherever in the middle of the night, and he's a respectable guy. I know him quite well, very respectable. Linda House checked this out, and he put a sketch of his UFO on some website. And then John Burroughs, who was at Rendlesham Forest, saw the time travel thing in 1980, recognized the symbols as what he had seen. The craft UFO had been on the ground in the forest from 1980. This is 35 years later. So he told Linda Howe, and Linda Howe checked this fellow out as well as I have. Quite reputable. There's no fakery and anything involved. So what happened was 200-meter wide UFO with sparks flying out the back. Not only did he see it, but he's got more communicated messages from it than any other contactee in history. I don't know if I'd call him a contactee or a representative. And this article here, if you find it, a novel multiplex binary code was shown to UFO contact CJ, and you Google that, that's very interesting. The reason is, Linda asked me to translate the first part, and then it turned out it was a code never seen on Earth before. So I had to solve it from scratch. If you go to that article, what you see is, hopefully you can find some crop circle connector. There are all these little open squares and filled squares and thick lines and thin lines. You can show your science friend this. And it didn't exist on Earth before 2015, this code. It looks incomprehensible. So it took me 1 month to solve it. I tried 100 codes. Finally, I figured out that they use 4 symbols in their computer system and not 2 symbols. It's very simple. I mean, the code's eminently readable. 4 symbol computing and not 2. Now, maybe we do that in the future, but we don't do it right now. We're talking in binary. The great advantages of working in 4 symbols. So finally, after doing that, I figured out what happens is they're sending 3 text messages in parallel all the time. Like in electricity, you get series and parallel currents. There are 3 parallel messages sent using 4 symbols. And if you go to this article, you can see how I decoded it. And it's very logical. It's probably the simplest way. There's several codes of this type possible. So the point is 100% this came from aliens. That the guy gets contact by him, and it's been ongoing contacts, some telepathic, and he was with the aliens in the room. There's a picture of the aliens right there. You can compare that, how that looked. They looked like the aliens you saw, you know, yourself. He put a sketch, him and his wife saw it together with their kids. There were films of it, and it was very well documented, very well documented. And I put the code at the bottom, and your friends can confirm I've decoded it correctly, but I have. So the point is, there was a UFO seen, military man, reputable, been in combat, 20-year veteran, no fakery. We get a computer code. No one else, it doesn't exist on Earth yet. There's several of these. And I have spent a month solving it, so we want to find out what are they communicating to us. Were you happy so far?
Yeah, let's do this.
So if you have to go there, but the communication was, which was totally unexpected. I didn't know what to expect. And Linda couldn't decode it. She's given a bunch of seminars on it. Continuous protection of humanity, 49.27 north, 11.5 east. That's Nuremberg, Germany, the town center. Expose hidden knowledge to all citizens. Incidentally, they use the French C letter there than the English C with a little thing on it. Advancement imperative for planetary survival. Beware of Orion 1350.3 and Z Reticuli 39.170. After I did the code, I figured that's how far in light years it is from here to the Orion Nebula, 1350.3, or Zeta Reticuli 39.170, except those numbers are more accurate than the ones astronomers know now by about a digit. But they're more accurate numbers. And it avoids signal messages sent. In other words, don't be sending messages out into space like SETI wants to do, okay? And then it says imminent threat soon upon Earth's leaders and civilizations. Expose and disband hidden knowledge to all citizens. Employ safe and controlled joint study to all minds. Progression imperative for combined survival. Now, these guys were in there in the 1950s. Part of the next thing says they're 12 light years away, and they've come on an emergency journey over 12 light years to reach here. It's maybe from Tau Ceti or something like that. It says Ike's embedded citizens are ready. Those were that relates to politics in the 1950s. So probably these people were here in the 1950s. And they have a famous phrase, disclose, evolve. Disclose, evolve, which you see everywhere. This is where it came from. And the final part of the message is royal Emertha warning. They call themselves Emertha aliens. They have a royal family, apparently. Expose foreign technology to all. Evolutionary advancement needed to prevent takeover. So this is real, as much as you don't like it. There's also an overlaid capital layer code like stenography. And Eisenhower's in there, Majestic 12 is in there, CIA's in there. So these people, the aliens, seem to have been here in the 1950s. There are all sorts of reference in the 1950s. And this code was given in 2015. Now the guy who got this message is quite reliable. He has no idea what it means. He just writes them down, just like I would write down Chinese characters accurately. Has absolutely no idea what it means. and I was the first one to figure it out. It's the most important alien message ever received from a validated UFO contact. It's not channeling, it's not anything. The fact that the computer code does not exist, which you can confirm, I'll give you another one, will confirm, that means you have to take it seriously. So the fact is, they're warning us the Earth is in a threat soon. So that was, I'll come to more. What do you think about that so far?
I think it's interesting. I'm not one who is very familiar with code, so I'm kind of following your lead here.
It's just a computer code. Now, it turned out after I did this, it turned out how it worked. I said, they're using a better computer system than we are. Why don't we switch our computers to their computer system? So I went around to all these companies, and I said, they've got 4-symbol computing like in DNA and RNA have 4-symbol computing. Why don't we switch to 4-symbol computing? It's much better than the binary computing. And I had a company almost ready to buy into it, but they figured they could never get the market. So here's a whole new computer system. It's like AC power versus DC power. Imagine our whole electrical system is based on DC power, and someone says, you get a message from aliens and they're using AC power instead. You think, why don't we use AC power? And the company said, no, we have to use DC. So that's where our computer industry, so not only have I got it, but this will revolutionize all of those computer industries, including Wi-Fi, space, and they just can't seem to do it. The other thing which is very interesting when you go to this 4-symbol, I figured out right away myself, that you can encrypt everything unbreakably. So if you have, say, like a 100-bit message, typically our password or key can't be more than 100 bits. By this method, the password can be like 1,000 bits, 2,000 bits. So if you have a military communication, say you've got a jet taking off and you want to chase something on a military mission, you want to send messages to that jet in as secure form as possible. So each jet could have like 10 passwords just for that one jet, and you send the message out, nobody could break it, and they have to have all 10 passwords to break it. So there are great advantages of strategic secrecy or business or whatever. So I have this whole, I've got that, I posted it, fine, I try to sell that, eventually nobody would buy it. So I posted this whole thing. I think, why can't these people figure this out? Not only does it come from ET, but we can upgrade our computers. And they haven't figured it out yet. I'm going to mention it to you. You can show your friend. Now, this is like Roswell. Because what happened is, we're talking now using transistors and doped silicon. Roger Lear, who was a friend of mine before he passed away, a serviceman gave him a piece of the Roswell crash, and he picked it up. After he died, his wife gave it to Roger, had it tested. It's a silicon germanium doped silicon. So it was part of the transistor. And that's where, and they gave it to Bell Labs, and naturally Bell Labs found right away if we dope silicon, it has very useful properties. So that's where all of our computer technology comes from, electronics, doped silicon, and that was found in the Roswell crash. It took the guys at Bell about 6 months to back engineer it. So here we have, to summarize, here we have a huge step. We don't need a quantum, we have a huge step up in computing from binary to 4 symbols. And I'm a little frustrated because our computer industry seem not to realize how much we can just jump ahead in computing this way. Major advantages. Encryption, speed, coding, it's like a small revolution example. And here it is, I decided to make it open source. After a while, I thought, well, I'm just going to make it open source, Like Leo Szilard, who discovered via chain reaction, nuclear chain reaction. He was living with Max Delbruck in the Netherlands. He patented it, and eventually he just made it open source because he couldn't make any money out of it. That's all the atomic energy, the chain reaction. So here we are here, and I've just shown you a whole new set of computing. If it's adapted, you'll know, like transistors, this comes from ET, and you'll know where it came from. So all of your scientist friends can look at this and get started on this article. And I've got more. I just can't release it all right over the web. I've got more, but I can release some of it. Enough. I can't release the content of the message, but I can show the coding format. It's not secret. I don't violate any things. And they have things where you can send one, you can send, anyway, the coding is very advanced beyond anything in textbooks. Now, I did not get this myself. How am I going to invent this thing? I don't know anything about this. Linda Howe gave it to me as a problem to solve. Linda got it, and that's how I did it. That's why she's giving, seminars. It was on Gaia, and so we have very high computer tech here that could be implemented immediately around the world and revolutionize computers. and they seem like, do you know, like what they said, they're a bit thick? I mean, they're a coding expert. The scientists should be able to figure this out. They're just a little bit thick, you know? And I don't know why, don't ask me why it's taking so long, but it's all real, and this is where it came from. I'm just a conduit, sort of like the one who was asked to I didn't invent anything. I can't patent. There's a few things, but just imagine that, just comprehend all the computer tech we could be doing, and we're not doing it. And this is where it came from. That's why this UFO contact. There was a matching crop circle at the same time. I don't want to get into it, but it's very, very well validated. And no one in any computer classes anywhere can understand what I'm talking about. So, well, the people working in molecular biology, like COVID or whatever, they understand because DNA and RNA all use this 4-symbol coding, but they don't use it we don't use it in our computers yet. So I had to mention that because it's such an important thing. Imagine the value of that, Dave. You just think about it for a second. Just scan through the article, show your scientific friend. So I've given you something very important if you haven't seen it before. There's lots of supplementary material because I've been doing this for like, I have 12 pages of codes, but I'm just not allowed to release the rest of them. And it's very, very well documented. There's no fakery. It's a whole system of computing that we don't know about. But I didn't, as I said, I got it. All I did was like read it like someone read hieroglyphs. And so just think about the potential industrial advantages of this. So that's why I mentioned it now. Can you cope with that?
Oh, I can. And you know what? I mean, you know, the only thing that we really know for sure in any of this is it's all theory. We don't have any true proof to the existence of it all.
Of what?
We don't have any true proof to the existence of it all. We're all theorizing that we hope this is what it is.
Well, that's why they gave this code that doesn't exist on Earth, because that way you know it didn't come from somebody on Earth. That's one of the reasons. It's a new code that doesn't exist on Earth. They could have given it an Earth computer code. You see, so it doesn't actually exist here. Nowhere you'll find it. So that's pretty much like proof that we didn't do it. There's no fakery involved. Plus, there's all the UFOs were seen, and it's well documented. It's very, very well documented. Linda Howe's done dozens of seminars on this with millions of views. I'm just giving you some background information.
Yeah. See, I haven't heard so much of the binary stuff in regards to the code. I do know that a lot of people who are taken get some sort of downloaded symbolism of shapes, of numbers,
right,
of you know, different types of symbols. In fact, I know one night I had that happen, and a good friend of this show, researcher Nicole Sackage, who's been on our show a lot of times, she works very closely with Grant Cameron. That same night, she lives in Illinois, so it's about 2,800 miles east of me. She had the exact same download as I did.
Right, so write those down, and I'm happy to look at your downloads as well. I might solve them. Write them down. This is like this guy. The guy who get this is like you, and that you getting downloads like yourself. The difference is he's been given something technologically valuable and novel, which we use for, and it isn't just pictures. We can actually put this into industrial practice. That's the difference. That's why he's getting more attention, of course. And he has no idea what it means. And it came to me, Linda can confirm, and the whole thing is I don't want to say it, Linda fully knows this is important. And our computer industries can use it. So that's the difference between just being given information and technology. That's why it's such a rare case. Of course, there are lots of people getting messages. I met dozens of people. So that's why, and you can send to your science friend, and if he doesn't know it yet, he'll be shocked by it, because this isn't there. This is just a little bit of it. So I had to mention it, because it's verifiable, because it's not just symbols, it's a whole form of coding and technology which doesn't exist in our computer technologies or computer systems on Earth. And it's documented, and this is the first article I did 4 years ago. So I didn't make it up. I mean, I didn't make anything up. Linda gave this to me. She said, "Can you do this?" I said, "Well, let me work on it for a while." And I worked on it for about a month to figure it out. I didn't actually know what it meant either, just by trial and error. So, and the UFOs were seen. They're on cameras. They're, deer cameras. There's lots of things in that particular incident. So this is why it's so important, because it's not just you getting a message. It's the whole computer industries on Earth can be changed. So send your science friend. You don't have to understand coding. Let people understand science. Do it, study it, and we'll see where it goes.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. And we only got about 4.5 minutes left with you tonight in a show that has flown on by. What message do you think we are missing from our extraterrestrial friends?
I think they're giving us, do you mind me being blunt? They're giving us lots of messages, but we're ignoring most of them. We're getting lots and lots. Crop circles, I got the codes here, we got other things, we've got contacts, and they're concerned about us. We're a primitive race compared to them. We have supervisory capacity. We may have danger from other bad alien races in the near future. They're concerned about protecting us. And they're giving us messages. It's very hard for them to get any sort of message through governments to the people. If you notice, 3 or 4 times in this said, you have to let the people find out everything. Like 4 times in the message. So they want all of Earth's population. That's why I'm talking to you tonight. It's not for fame. Everybody on Earth, they want to know what's going on. And they're going past the governments and spreading this out. They want everybody on Earth to know what's happening. So you may not know immediately, but you catch on. And that's what they want. They figure in order to have the security of Earth in the long term, it can't just be like abductees or new agey things. You have to, everybody on Earth has been kept secret from you. All the stuff has been kept secret from the people. I mean, just imagine what Trump knows and he can't release it, or what the Prime Minister in England knows and can't release it. Just imagine how much secret UFO tech there is. How many fusion technology. Well, we don't need to burn coal and oil. Imagine how many techs. So they want that all released, and that's the bottom line. The friendly one's the message, okay? And they can't seem to. They can't. It's like me talking to you. I can't seem to get through. I'm doing the best I can. So that's why I'm talking to you. It's not because I certainly don't want to be famous. I couldn't care less. But I know that's exactly what they want, and you don't have to understand everything. You wouldn't be expected to. But just we have to have all. Where we go one, we go all. We have to all advance together. That's the where we go one, we go all. And I'm certain that's the message, okay? They want everybody to get ahead. And then you won't be scared when they come down. It'll be like having a Chinese person. I don't care if an alien walks in the room with me. It's a million-year-old ultra-intelligent alien. Is that going to scare you? Of course not. He's not going to hurt you. So not like the one looking in your window. So that's why I think that's it. Is there anything else you want to think? Or?
Well, let's, with 2 minutes to go here, let everybody know where they can find your information and your studies, because we always like to pass that along.
Well, I'll just pass this along. My crop circle videos, I put them on. What happens is everything I do gets blacklisted by the Google search agencies. I can't get anything. All the important things, crop circles, whatever videos, I get 370,000 views, and then they block it, so nobody can see it. If you saw one of these, you'd be convinced. I can send you a couple links by email. I'll send you a link or just links. Should I send you the links and let people just follow up if they want?
Sure, that works too.
2 or 3 links, not a lot. And then they can just follow up and read as they wish, because these are difficult subjects. And you'll see how much has been kept away from you. I can't do anything else really if people don't want to learn this, especially in the universities. If they say, oh, no, I can't, if they think UFOs don't exist, you can't really deal with such people. Their minds aren't open enough to learn anything, so.
I get you. With 1 minute to go, where do you take your research now?
I'm waiting to see what happens this year. I know you're skeptical of the time travel. Everybody's keenly watching to see what happens in the election. Is the storm going to take place? The calm before the storm is a time travel warning. We're going to face a storm of some kind, some big event. I don't know exactly. I was just talking to Jason about it. We have a possibility for a big UFO thing in summer. So in the next 9 months, should be very, very eventful. I'm just staying along, learning how to read the messages, watching, being watchful, and just trying to advance myself. I've got a garage. I'm building UFO tech in my garage if I can. I'm posting videos, some of it on YouTube, some of it in Twitter. So I'm actually doing my own experiments on UFO tech. I got a friend coming over tomorrow. So I'll just do everything I can by myself as an intelligent scientist. That's what I'm doing.
Right. Well, I want to say thank you, Dr. Horace Drew, for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Tomorrow from where you are in Australia. It was an absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you.
Have a wonderful time in the snow there.
Oh, I'm sure I will. Yeah, note the sarcasm on that, as 6 months of snow has officially started. Hold on 1 second here. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, Yeah, we continue with the third hour, well, the final half of the third hour. The SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Good job, Doc. Oh, he hung up right before I clapped. Good job. Well, we'll give him a few claps anyways. Good show. Solid show. Excuse me. How we all doing, guys and gals? I went to bed at 6 o'clock last night. p.m. I woke up at 7 this morning. I never get 13 hours of sleep. Ever. It's been years. Years. And I got it last night. Feel good about it. Now I'm doing the tired thing again. And what else we got here? Yeah, lots of woo in this one. Lots of woo in this one. Hey, New York Anthony, how you doing, man? Good to have you here. And Noble Patrick, Crow Creek. Sheila Amos, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. If anybody has a spare taco that they want to send over so I can 3D print, even though I don't have a 3D printer, but I would appreciate it because I am hungry right now. We ain't talking politics. Ain't talking politics. Real. You know what? I had steak bites and mashed potatoes for dinner. That's what I had. My secret sleep formula: work hard. Oh, excuse me. Work hard for about 6 months in a row, and then just have your body just collapse in bed. Hey, Magnus. Zetterqvist. His last name is a combination of two great Red Wings, Henrik Zetterberg and Gustav Nyquist. How's that? Magnus, way to go, buddy. Good to have you here. No, you know what? I don't like having snacks. I don't like eating during the show. I don't. Hey, Derek Edwards, where you been hiding lately? Haven't seen you for a while. Super Quest, how you doing, brother? Good to have you back, my friend. Always appreciate you. I do. We got 1 minute. Thank you to Vinny, to Jenny, and to Zoe Buttercup for the super chats tonight. Really do appreciate the love and support. Appreciate the love on everybody who's given us a thumbs up and thumbs down. And to everybody new who has hit that subscribe button, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we're going to get into the news here momentarily and the thought of the day. So stay tuned. I apologize for the yawning. I've had a busy day. I've literally been going since 7 o'clock this morning. So, let's see here. What's that? 12, almost 14 hours. I'm a little tired. Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Here I am sitting in the captain's chair at a snowy SOR headquarters. Good to have all of you with us tonight. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the investigative. And I want to tell you a little story before I get into the news. Okay, I had an amazing experience yesterday. Amazing experience. And I'm going to tell you all about it. So here I was, collecting firewood out in the forest, getting ready to go chop down some trees. Well, cut down, because I use a chainsaw. All right, and here I was, my buddy Mike and I, driving on the gravel roads, going to my little lumber hole that I have, and meet up with a friend over there. And as we are driving along the gravel road, nobody around except us, what do I see? About 50 feet in front of me, a lynx jumps out onto the road, and I hit the brakes. And the lynx kind of stops in the middle of the road and then slowly saunters across. Now, if you've never seen a lynx, they are gorgeous. Google one. If you've never seen one, that's Lynx. Lynx. If you've never seen one, check it on out. They are literally, in my opinion, the most beautiful wildcat out there, especially in North America. They are gorgeous. And here I am, like 50 feet away from this. Now, I had seen a lynx before, only once a few years ago, and that was at nighttime. And I couldn't really get a good look at it, but here was this beautiful cat, probably the size of a, I don't know, pick a big dog. Okay, not a medium-sized dog, but a large dog. And here it was, right in front of me. So I want to tell you something, because it really ties into what we do in this field. All right, we complain all the time that we don't get that good video footage of a Bigfoot or a UFO or an alien, or a dogman or something like that in the forest or up in the sky. And I will say this. I did the exact same thing with this lynx. I was so excited to have it right in front of me that I grabbed my phone, and all of a sudden, it's like my hands go stupid. I can't get my iPhone unlocked. When I finally get it unlocked, I try to go for the camera, but I hit another app, and then I hit my center button to clear that app. I hit my center button too much, so Siri pops on. Now I got to clear Siri to clear the other app, to go back into my photograph or my camera app. And now the lynx is walking down into the ditch and into the forest. Now, the good part for me is the lynx was able to stay there. Now I'm about 60 feet from this, and I have an iPhone. And if anybody has an iPhone, you know that the camera sucks on it. And I take a couple of pictures. I take 5 pictures, and only 2 turn out. So the point that I'm getting at here is this. It's very easy to get excited about things like this. It's very easy to and look at that. The minute I mentioned Siri, now she pops on my phone. Like, what are you talking about, Dave? Hey, Siri, tell us about Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, in Canadian folklore and American folklore, is an ape-like creature that is said to inhabit the forests of North America.
Well, thank you. Thank you. No, you don't need to continue. I got a show to run here. Thanks. Anyways, so it's easy to see why all of a sudden this stuff doesn't work. The technology doesn't work because it's human error. So when we're looking for those blob squatches that people are saying, oh, that's a Sasquatch. In the meantime, it looks like a melted fudgicle on the ground. Okay? This is what's happening. A lot of times we are way too excited to actually see what's going on. And I just wanted to take a picture of a lynx. That's all I wanted, was a picture of the lynx. I got it, but I'll tell you, seeing it with my human eyes was much better than seeing it through my iPhone, that's for sure. So give those people a little bit of a break because, you know what, they probably saw something and were just too excited in order to get the proper photo. I am living proof now. If it can happen to me, it can all happen to you. Anyways, let's get on with the news. Another cable has fallen onto the reflector dish at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, and yet another frustrating setback for this beloved facility. The main support cable of the Arecibo Observatory failed and fell onto the dish, and you know what? It broke again. The extent of the damage is not yet known, but the dish was damaged further, as were some more nearby cables. This thing's going to collapse. Let's just be honest. This old thing's going to collapse. No one was hurt, thank goodness, but a safety zone has been set up around the facility as a precaution. With 2 failed cables in 3 months, it's imperative that response teams now find a way to stabilize the structure. Wow, good reporting there. Thank you. Here's a cool story. In September, a couple out for a stroll in France came across a tiny aluminum capsule in a field. Inside, there was a message written in barely legible German on kind of a tracing paper. The message appears to carry the date 1910 or 1916. So what was found out about this? Well, they are describing the find as extremely rare. Why? Because the capsule was likely to come to the surface of the soil over time, as many military remains are starting to from the First World War. The soldier who wrote this was based in Inkersheim, then part of Germany, but now France. The museum that's looking into this in Orby commemorates the Battle of the Hilltop for La Ligne in Vosges Mountains in 1915, and one of the bloodiest encounters of the 1914 to 1918 war. The couple brought their find to the museum, where the message and its container will now become an exhibit. Mr. Jardy, who contacted a German friend to translate the dispatch, which was written in German Gothic script and details German military maneuvers. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? All right. Here's a very cool story. Something I would never do. I don't recommend you guys do this either. All right? But kudos to rock climber Emily Harrington. The 34-year-old has become the first woman ever and the 4th person only in history to free climb the Golden Gate route of Yosemite National Park's 3,000-foot El Capitan, and she summited it in a single day. While most of the country was focused on the results of the presidential election, no, not Emily. She began scaling the granite wall Wednesday morning at around 1:34 a.m. I never believed I could actually free climb El Capitan in a day when I first set the goal for myself. It didn't seem like a realistic objective for me, she wrote in an Instagram post. I didn't have the skills, fitness, or risk profile to move so quickly over such a large piece of stone. But I chose it exactly for that reason. Impossible dreams challenge us to rise above who we are now to see if we can become better versions of ourselves. This is amazing. Like, she's climbing this mountain with a flashlight at times. This is crazy. Harrington reached the top in 21 hours, 13 minutes, 51 seconds. Only 3 people, all men, have made the free climb on that route in one day. Free climbers use ropes to catch them if they fall, but not to help them ascend. El Capitan is one of the world's most famous climbing spots. It has been a proving ground for the best climbers for decades in the national park. Good for her. That is great. I hope there's some young ladies out there who will take a look at this, especially young girls, and look at her as a hero. Absolutely. To get a feat like that, that's incredible. Well, Tesla has pretty much conquered space. It's conquered the car industry. What's next? How about tequila? Electric car brand Tesla has launched its own branded tequila, which comes as an inside of a joke that was started in April of 2018, according to Elon Musk. And the bottle is fantastic. It looks like a lightning bolt. I actually want some of this. So on April Fool's Day in 2018, the American entrepreneur joked that Tesla had gone completely and totally bankrupt, leading him to being found passed out against a Tesla Model 3, surrounded by Teslaquila bottles, the tracks of dried tears still visible on his cheeks. 6 months later, Musk filed an application with the U.S. Patent with a trademark office to trademark Teslaquila and teased a visual of the bottle on Twitter, which had much more of a generic form than the final product. Over 2 years and after filing for the trademark, the drink is now launched under the new and simpler name of Tesla Tequila. I prefer Teslaquila. That sounded way better. Which is now available for purchase at $250 a bottle. Holy cow, that better be some good tequila. Anyways, contained inside a hand-blown glass bottle shaped like a lightning bolt, which could be a reference to the company's electric cars, the product is only available in select states in the U.S. Come on, Elon, you're Canadian too. Let's get some of this up here. We deserve it. The Tesla Tequila appears to come with a metal stand, which holds the pointed tip of the bottle in place to enable it to stand just right. Oh, this stuff looks good. I want to try that. Anyways, a man in Ontario who found a 32-year-old message in a bottle on the shore of a lake says he was able to talk with the message's author, although she has no memory of writing the note. Larry Jones of Bob Cajun, famous song by the Tragically Hip, said he was working on his property on the shore of Sturgeon Lake when he spotted a little green bottle stuck in the mud. Jones and his wife Millie opened the bottle and discovered a letter inside, autographed and authored by a 13-year-old girl named Angela Vankerhoven. Vankerhoven's note, dated July 14th, 1988, said she lived in Simcoe and was visiting White Swan Cottages, located on the other side of the lake from Jones's property. Jones said he was contacted by Vankerhoven after her mother saw a news report about the discovery. He said the woman told him she recalled visiting White Swan Cottages in 1988, but she had no memory of setting a message in a bottle adrift. Well, that's where the story ends. I got no more on that one. Hopefully, she can see the note, and that would be a good little memento for her. Animal Services officers were summoned to a California neighborhood. That's because there was an escaped camel running around. Yeah, Michaela McGuan, supervising animal services officer for the Yolo County Sheriff's Office, said she knew right away after receiving a call about a camel on the loose and that the animal was likely Camella, a single-hump dromedary camel residing at Anita Vargas Serenity Farms outside of Woodland. McGuane said Camilla caused a stir with her outing, but ended up returning home on her own before officers arrived. Now, I'm not a camel expert, but like other large animals, they may get curious if they get a chance to escape, McGuane says. Yeah, we find with cows and horses, they'll sometimes wander just to see if there's food out there. She said the department has received calls about camella before from other concerned members of the public. A camel is an unusual animal that people are concerned is illegal, but it's not. That's the most people's general question because it's an unusual animal to have as a pet. Moving on, I want to try this. Maybe you do too. How many of you out there like mazes? You know, corn mazes or books full of mazes? Well, here's a good one. All right? Here's a good one. A Michigan woman said it took her more than 3 months to finish creating the world's largest hand-drawn maze, which measures at more than 1,120 square feet. Detroit's own Michelle Ninley said it took her full 3 months and 10 days to draw the maze, which set a new Guinness World Record. The finished maze covers a surface of 1,126.36 square feet. Nunley says that her world record attempt raised funds for Living Arts, a Detroit organization that provides community art programs for the kids. I want to know, has anybody solved this yet? That's what I want to know. Let's make it happen. That looks like fun. And some good news for a family in Michigan, as we stick in Michigan right now. You know, this family, they've been trying pretty hard here to get a girl for a number of years. They wanted a daughter. So far, they had Tommy, Calvin, Drew, Tyler, Zach, Brandon, Gabe, Vinny, and Wesley, along with Charlie, Luke, Tucker, and Francisco. So if you're keeping count, that's 14 children, 14 boys. Well, child number 15 finally arrived. And the Michigan family of Jay and Kateri Schwant finally gave birth to their 15th child and first daughter, little Maggie Jane. Oh, is she as cute as a button. Before Maggie Jane, there were the boys, 14 of them, which I believe is a record to have 14 boys in a row. And the Lakeview, Michigan parents said they were surprised when she wasn't a boy. And they were prepared for another boy, but apparently, nope. This time, little Maggie Jane has stolen the hearts of all of the family, as she should. As she should, because little baby girls, they have that power on everyone. And we all love it, don't we? Here we go. 14 boys. Finally, one girl. Boy, she's going to be spoiled. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What would you do if a UFO landed in your yard? Dirty Filth kicking things off here on Twitter. Bring out some crypto brews, ask if Carl is there, get blasted with the aliens, and then ask if I could fly the ship to pick up Dave and R. Keith Andrews. Probably draw a cartoon on the bathroom wall as well. Canadian Joe, I'd make sure E.T. was wearing their masks as well as social distancing. Captain Canada says pretty much this, then shows a picture of Bubbles looking weird. John, write a note to my wife and daughter. Number 1. Number 2, give my dog a hug. Number 3, look friendly but not too eager. Let's go on this spaceship. Reverend Keith, shake my fist at them yelling, "You darn aliens, stay off my grass." Cherry says, well, I'm going to light up. Allison, tell them I've only got 2 parking spaces, so they'll have to park on the street. Dave, I take pictures, video, approach it. I already know. Andrew, give them better directions. They chose an awful vacation spot. Joseph, I'd pee myself and freak the F out. Ronnie, if you're going to park in my yard and mess it all up, you can mow it and then rake all the trimmings up. Well, that's nice. Judith, beg them to take me with them. Cyrus, other than crap myself, get video evidence, but not of me crapping myself. Greg, 2 words, Dave. clenched butt cheeks. AC, give them a beer and ask for the keys, then go for a joyride. The breakwater, take lots of pictures and video and attempt to try and communicate with them telepathically. Then would tell all of UFO Twitter family. They wouldn't believe you. It's UFO Twitter. Sorry, hun. So, Carl. Different Carl, not human Carl. This is a different human Carl, part 2. I would make the transition of thinking to knowing. And Marty, our favorite veteran around here, or one of them, he says, nice clown, Marty, by the way. I would go out to my backyard, shake my fist at them, and yell, "Get off my damn lawn!" All right, well, do you even have grass in Las Vegas, Marty? I didn't know that people had grass there. I really didn't, because it's so hot. Do people actually have grass in their yards in Las Vegas? I know they don't. I've never seen grass in Phoenix or Arizona. Do they have that? I don't know. That's a legitimate question. Okay, let's move on here. All right. Steven says, I'd lube up. Jeff, run up and say hi. Go to Facebook Live for documentation. And let's see. DA, tell him to watch out for the dog poop. Danny, get the camera and go outside for a possible chat. Lori, nothing probable sleep through it. Or probably sleep through it, unless the dogs and cat went off. Kimberly, get to my camera, see if they want to chat. They give them a Google map group on how to get the politics done. Enough said. Well, we're going to keep that out. Mike, don't burn my grass. Wayne, tell them it's about time you got here. Get me off of this rock. Jennifer, tell them I've been waiting 40 years. Hurry up. Gail, seriously? E.T. doesn't land in someone's yard. They have to have a purpose, and if they weren't invited, their purpose would be suspect at best. Oh, Gail. Michael, I'd yell, please get me out of here. Shauna, ask them to take me home. And let's see. William says he'd film it. Davey, I would ask if I could take a spin. Carrie Lynn, you actually realize you're an ant. Fear sets in. Then you head for cover. Rose, freak out in my head with paralyzing fear, pee myself, and have a heart attack. Well, that's honest. Good honest. Jenna, depends on who they were. Leo, tell them to get out of Papano. It's not safe. And let's see, one final one here. Brandy, I had one when I was young, and I yelled to my mom. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Day. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the news and Dr. Horace Drew as our guest. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Yeah, because we appreciate you. We definitely do. And, of course, to everybody on YouTube, Spreaker, LGAP, Facebook, Space Travelers Club, Rep Radio, and Twitter, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night, Mr. Bumblefoot. We need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train is docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, yeah, we got room for them too. Good night.